ground shake. everybody, and welcome to the Atlanta Community Open. My name is Bass from the Past, and join alongside me here today is the lovely Caribou. And Caribou, we have the pleasure of week 2 of this incredible show in partnership with CMG and brought to you by Microsoft ATL and HyperX. I'm excited to be here, my friend. We've got some 2v2 competition that is going to absolutely blow you guys away. And again, just excited. I've got nothing but excitement here. We did this last week. It was some phenomenal gameplay. I come back this week with another familiar face in the lovely Caribou, and I could not be more ecstatic. Caribou, how are you doing on this fine Thursday, my friend?
I can't complain at all. I'm just a little disappointed I wasn't here to be able to see last week's high-octane action, because every single week, the qualifiers to finals, regardless of what the status of competition is, they always perform at a phenomenal level, and they always deliver a phenomenal show. So I'm a little disappointed I couldn't be here last week, but hopefully we can make up this week with the return of the champions.
Let's see if we can do exactly that. Like you said, the return of the champs here. It's going to be an interesting one, and it's an interesting event that is still going to run all month long. Like we mentioned, we were here at the same time, same place last week, found our first 3 competitors, and now we're going to find another 3 this week, as well as another 2 next week, and then, well, not any more competitors after that. We've got our full matchup, and then we've got that 500 final at the very end of the month. We've got a lot on the line here today for the ATL Open, but I could not be more excited to do it with you, my friend. Through multiple months of this incredible event, you and I have been able to watch so many incredible Rocket League players, but now we get into this one today. 30 teams have stepped up to the plate. Like you said, a couple of familiar faces here today, so keep my fingers crossed. Maybe we get some good competition, because like last week, we had a couple people who came through and just kind of surprised us. So always happy to see some new faces, always happy to see returning faces. I'm just excited for some good Rocket League.
And good Rocket League we will have, because as you said, with those 30 teams, last time I refreshed that page, it was at 29. Hit F5 one more time. That 30th team to come in is the team that also was in the championship match last week in Northway between Aqua and Pablo. Grupo Terracola also still here. So those 2 teams obviously have punched their ticket for the finals at the end of this month, but still having them return to come back in this one is going to make things that much more exciting for today's qualifier. $175 on the line, and that is why you see the same teams keep coming back, because of the fact that, sure, they've already got their ticket punched for the finals end of the month with the bigger prize pool, but they can still win part of that prize cash out here today. So if you can, you might as well just sign up one more time.
100%. Always good to take home a little bit of extra cash here, and especially considering that it's good practice. You get to see which other teams you're going to be facing, because the reality is a lot of the guys you see in these competitions are the same ones you see at the end of the month. As you can see on your screen right now, the IATL finals are going to be 8 different teams. Teams will compete in 3 different qualifiers to make it to the end of the month and get themselves a shot on October 28th for that final. This is going to be an awesome one. I'm very excited to get into this one. It's always $500 at the end of the month, $350 to first, $100 to second, and $50 going to third. And then today as well, they're competing for some prize money, like you mentioned, $125 to first and $50 to second. But because we do also have, those returning players, we've already got some players here that have technically qualified for the end of the month, like you said, in Grupo Terracola. If those guys make top 4, anyone else in that top 4 is automatically going to get a spot at the end of the month here. So good chance for a lot of people to win some money. A lot of good chances for some teams to sneak into that top 4 and get themselves a spot at the end of the month. But beyond anything else, Caribou, we're just going to have to find out who that is. We've got a lot of good competition here today, a lot of really good teams. And again, this is going to be a really fun one, because I get to hop in the booth with you, my friend. We get to do this every once in a while, but it's been quite some time. And you just got to love it when we're able to, cast together like this.
It's probably been a month or so since we've been up here, and I'm always privileged to have you and be riding along your backpack. I'm like your Yoda. Like, I'm just on your back as you're carrying me through the swamps. And it's yeah, sure, I'm here, but you're actually the star of the show in this one. But you talk about some of these teams that are coming through. Obviously, we're going to be looking out for Grupo Terracola plus Northway, because they were the 2 teams in the championship of last week's qualifier. But there's also a few teams lurking in the shadows. Nexus Gaming was the team that qualified into the finals for last month, is here today, on top of Night Guard and G's, another team that we have seen time and again, with Kimmy and Storms on that roster, looking to see if they are going to be able to get a ticket punched between them. On top of that, Wavy is returning one more time. We haven't seen that name here in probably 6 weeks or so, and now coming back here on this one under the moniker of the Wise Turkeys. Looking forward to see if that is going to be another one of those lurking teams in the shadows.
I would have to imagine so. Not just because of the fact that Wavy is such a fantastic player to watch, shout out to them themselves, but also because of the player they're playing with today. Rush, another really solid player that has been around the bubble scene for quite some time, and this time I'm going to hope we can confirm that these guys are a part of the bubble scene, because last night I found this out afterwards. So we had a team pop through here that was named Mzu, and that was because of Amore plus also Mizu, or so I thought it was Mizu. Get onto the
Okay.
pitch. Mizu doesn't necessarily perform exactly how well I thought he would, and I get a little bit surprised. Send him a message on Twitter saying, "Hey man, just wanted to know how you pronounce the other guy you were playing with here today." He gets back to me after the competition and goes, "Hey, sorry about that. I don't know who you're talking about." Turns out that wasn't Mizu. That was an impersonator of Mizu from his Facebook community, because he's a rather popular streamer there. So maybe we get Mizu back this week. Maybe it's actually Mizu this week. We're going to have to find out here. Hoping we don't get any more impersonators here and we still get the top level competition. But hey, that team still ended up finishing like 6th overall for the day. So even if you're an impersonator, if you're doing that well, you're not really needing to impersonate anyone. Be proud of yourself, my friend. You're a good player.
Yeah, at this point, you're looking to see any of those other players, impersonate or take on your own personality, whatever you may be. Because as you said, there are some of those teams and some of those players that all of a sudden do just pop up out of nowhere and just will surprise all of us and surprise the competition as well. So on top of those, familiar names and faces, would love to see the new names come through. And you don't have to rely on impersonating somebody if you want to be the best of the best. Just take a stand and make your own namesake and make a reputation for yourself, because then you're going to be that familiar face to come through and you're going to have people impersonating you. So I'm excited to see if we're going to have any of those people that really start to showcase and shine here. And especially, that's one of the great parts about these community opens, is that you get so many people from so many different branches of the Rocket League scene, whether it be from casual or competitive play. And the fact that it is all inclusive like that, I love being able to see everyone from all walks of Rocket League players. But of course, you can stay connected with us, as you see down below, on social media, Skillshot Media. You can use the hashtags IATLGG or the ATLOpen, so that we can see everything going in. But we talk about, obviously, a little bit of these Night Garden Gs, one of those teams that we've seen a couple of times before, consisting of Kemi and Storms. They've been around the block a time or two, and that's where we're going to start today's competition.
And it's a great way to start this one off. I really am excited for this one, because they're also going against a team that I'm interested to see who exactly they are. Because as it stands right now, it is like for Mike as well as Sharp or Wizro. And if Sharp or Wizro is either one of those two names, it could be some players from the North American bubble scene that I recognize. Sharp being a former bubble player, or Wiz being a bubble player, which was one game away from making close qualifiers for RLCS this month. So if that team is who I think they are, we might actually see an incredible back and forth, but it's a little bit up in the air. Sharp, as of right this moment, doesn't necessarily have a lot of background to the player, so we don't actually know which Sharp this is going to be. Could be a random Sharp, could be the one from the bubble scene. You never really know. But hey, this has been what it's been pretty much the entire time that we've had the Atlanta Community Open, is people popping up out of nowhere, making a name for themselves, and then turning into these fantastic players that we've got to remember from there on out. I would say one of my favorite examples of that has obviously got to be Evo. Not sure if you had heard the update on this. Evo has now gotten so popular that Lil Evo that we saw that was previously PS4 bought himself a PC and got signed to Singularity as their sub. So he's done pretty well. He's been popping off from here on out. So maybe this player can do exactly that. But if they want to do that, Trevor, I'm interested. What are your keys to victory? How does a team like that doesn't necessarily have as much history on paper show up in their first performance of the day?
Well, obviously, getting the short straw, if you will, against the Night Garden G's is going to make things that much more difficult, because Kemi and Storms obviously have this pre-existing synergy with them that they are just so good together already. And being able to overcome that is a lot to ask of a duo that you might not know if they've played together as much as these two have or not. So I think being able to really establish the communication is going to be a very important factor going into this one. You're going against a duo of the Night Garden G's. So having clear comms and being on the point about what you want and the ambition that you have in the goal. If you want to be hard on the offensive aggression, or if you want to play a little more conservative and kind of dictate where the ball is going to go, play around the midfield more, because the last thing you want to do is get pinned on defense and be stuck in your zone, getting boost starved and letting these two have their way. So just find a way that works well for you to then be able to get the Night Garden G's off of their own comfort level, which is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, that's one of the unfortunate things here is that for a lot of these teams, it's about not only being able to improve themselves, but also slowing down the other team. Because when you've got this strong of a competition, you just can't let them run full force. So 100% making sure to not give them space on your back half and making sure that when you are on your back heel, you're not necessarily panicking. You're playing this one strategically, putting yourself in the most advantageous position possible. We're going to have to find out, though. This is going to be an interesting one here, Trevor. I'm very excited to see how this one develops here. I think we could go to a best of 3 that actually gets to that third game here. But again, in a best of 3, you don't necessarily always have a lot of time. If you drop that first game, your recovery period is rather small. So if you want to try and get back into this one, you have to play out the gates here. It's about starting off on the right foot and never really diverting from that path.
Yeah, and obviously starting is the biggest factor that we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks, coming on months now, where it's how whoever comes out with the most momentum is going to have the biggest impact on not only that single game, but for the rest of this, because it is only a best of 3. If you do give up that first game, it's that much more difficult. If you give up 2 goals in the first 20 seconds, it is going to be incredibly problematic. We're already here underway on the first game here for qualifier number 2 between the Night Guard and G's and the Highlanders, and hopefully we'll see some really exciting Rocket League action here in game number 1, because that is where we want to start, is with an exclamation point.
Oh, I'd love to see it here, but so far this one has been a fun back and forth. But I gotta say, the Highlanders starting to impress me a little bit here. Wizro, not the player that we thought. He's not Wiz, nor is he Storm, but he's a capable player at that. Been whipping it around the pitch so far here and doing a lot of damage. Uh-oh, but the first real strike we're gonna see all game is actually gonna be on the other end. Night Guard and G's with a beautiful flick out in center will get them the first goal.
And being able to just have, again, that pre-existing synergy between Kemi and Storms is just such an inherent advantage for this duo because of just what they are capable of and what they've done in the past. And I gotta give just a quick shout out to the production team and the graphics department. This new scoreboard, I didn't see it. Obviously, I wasn't here last week, but this new layout's looking pretty clean.
You gotta love it. Love when it looks good, and love when it makes it so that the players are feeling good as well. And that seems like it's what it is right now. Both teams coming out the gates absolutely firing here. And, well, the fire might be returned for a second. No, not if Wizro gets a little bit too fancy. 0 boost in the tank. Wanted to take that one into an air dribble, but didn't realize, well, they could not do that. Without enough boost in the tank, they give up an easy opportunity. And it's a bit unfortunate here, Caribou. They really needed that equalizer.
Yeah, just try to find some sort of answer. Of course, there's still so much time left, and being able to get back in time to be able to stop any sort of breakaway that Kimmy might potentially have. Wiz going to take this one solo, but just loses control of it. And I think that's part of the problem currently on the offensive front, is that they just seem to be playing half a pace faster than they realistically want to or can keep the ball under control or keep their momentum going in the same direction. But they're at least making some really solid moves here to be on this half and to make some level of competition. But on the other side, you see the goal getting scored post the demo. It's just a nice little 50 win right there to send it wayward of the goal, and it goes in.
There we go. That's one way to put yourself up 2-0 there. Night Guarding continuing to show that defensive prowess here. And we talked about this one where it was sort of, don't let Night Guarding get too established on offense. If you do get into defense, be able to hold strong. Now the question is whether or not Highlanders can take our own advice and, try and make sure that they don't hold strong on defense right now. Because Night Guarding look very comfortable when they get back into their own half. They can play very patiently. They can take their time. And I think that's a lot of the reason why they are dominant right now, is because they are just playing this one patiently, looking for opportunities like that and scoring while the iron is hot. They did that a third time here, and before the halfway mark. This one's looking a little bit out of hand here, Caribou.
Yeah, give it 15, 20 seconds, and all of a sudden, Night Guard really stepped up and took advantage of this situation to put themselves in this position right now with this 3-0 lead. Obviously, faring super well for them. Another potential setup here. Great denial there from Mike to be able to keep that fourth goal out of the back of the net. But Night Guard is still on this side of the field. They are still knocking, looking for a chance. The ball going long, might be on target, looking for the double touch. That's actually going to be a technical own goal right there, but hey, you get one back, and it starts with one. It took him 20 seconds to get one back, but hey, at some point, as long as you're on the board, you got to start somewhere.
That's the big thing. Just getting that spark of life. Getting them there, that first goal is going to be massive. And now it's up to the Highlanders to try and stack on a couple more. 3-1 at the moment, only down by 2 with half the game remaining. question is whether or not Night Garden's going to allow that 2-goal deficit to remain here. They're looking for a third, and they will find it. Technically their 4th goal of the game, but back to a 3-goal lead within only seconds.
Yeah, and being able to now get at least that one more back that quickly is able just to establish more confidence. Like, yeah, sure, you gave one up, call it a fluke, call it what you will, but the fact that you can just so quickly strike back, again, just reverts back to this synergy that's pre-existing between these two, between Kemi and Storms, and how good they are, how good they've been in the past of the ATLOpen. This is almost expected of this duo.
Yeah, at this point, you're kind of, oh my word, expecting them to
Kemi.
get something a little bit fancier here. Thought that that one might be the fanciest own goal we see all day, but no such luck. Instead, it might just be a goal on the other end. Wizrow, awkward position, but makes the save. Can they make the follow-up? No such luck. IG Pig gonna take this one very carefully here, and man, this was such a nice save. I really do wish the follow-up had arrived just so they could have survived this defensive stand, and we could have looked back at that as a highlight.
That initial save was so good, and I think that at that point, it's just a purely panicked reaction to, I made this awesome save, but now I have to get back because the ball is still threatening in the box. I have to get on this and challenge this one so the shot doesn't get off clean. Unfortunate, because it was such a quick reaction, you got off the ground so fast, there was no chance to redirect and get in front of that one to give up that 5th goal. But Storms did a really good job to stay patient and just wait for the defender to bite and take another goal home. 5-1 the scoreline now, under 90 seconds to play. Night Garden looking to cruise to their first victory here in this series. Was getting a shot back. We've seen, again, signs of life from the offense, from the Highlanders. They just have not gotten that pure chance that they were really looking forward to. Kemi trying with the double touch, can't get it off the backboard.
It feels like a lot of this is also that they just have really short-lived stints on offense right now. As much as they are getting the opportunities, like you said, it's kind of one and done. They move into offense, take the single shot, and then as soon as they take that single shot, they go back to retreat into defense. And, well, they almost were able to change that one up here by actually putting it into the back of the net. But, again, it is still one of these one-and-done shots. Wiz will, from the side, try and restart this one, but as a shot rings on target, Pig is going to be able to clear that one out. And notice how they're not going to try and press this offense too much here. Wiz going to take this all the way back into their own half, and Caribou, I'm starting to get a little bit scared. This is becoming detrimental because this is something you and I talked about. You give space to Night Gardens, they're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they are doing, just sitting back and watching this one and being down this. I mean, obviously, this is going to be game 1 chalked over to the Night Guard G's, but now you're just looking to take notes on what you could do. Storms right there, just putting on a clinic and talent show here on this one. Great aerial control, getting the flip reset right there to get past both defenders, sneaking it inside that upright. Storm's making this one look way easier than it really is.
Yeah, they're making that look like it's just another basic play. The reality is the slimmest of margins they're able to sneak that one by. Let's see if I can do it again. What a flick on Kemi just given a perfect goal. Silver platter here. Storm with the power of Zeus with this flick. Look at the height, Caribou.
Again, just putting on this clinic of a talent show out here. Night Guard G's are just cruising to this game 1 victory. And as we talked about the detriment for the Highlanders and what they're doing, chance here with the double commit off the kickoff. They're going to get one back, and that's the first goal they've scored themselves off of the mistake from the Night Guard on the kickoff. But again, it's just, at this point, a garbage time goal to get something back on the board. 7-2, probably going to be the final scoreline out of this one. But just to give credit to the Night Garden squad, that team just looks, as anticipated, really good for a duo that's played together. On the other side, the Highlanders, they started out well. I mean, for the first 80, 90 seconds, they're only the lone goal given up. They didn't really have a lot of other opportunities the other way, but like you had mentioned, it was a lot of very short-lived offensive possessions where they would take that lone shot, they'd have the opportunity, and then after that, they just full back off and give all of that space to the Night Garden team to then put together a counterattack that not only was a counterattack of a shot, but then they would follow up with another one on a rebound and another one on a rebound, which is where the Highlanders just did not do.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And as we look back at the replays from that first game of this series here, you're really going to start to notice that pattern and see how the offense was just different on two sides. There was the take the shot and retreat into defense, that safe play, and then there was the over-aggression we saw here. And I got to say, both viable strategies. The unfortunate truth is that one of the teams was executing on their strategy better than the other, though. If you're going to rely on counterattacks and making sure to take it the other way for those one-shot goals, you have to make them goals. We saw multiple times throughout that series where they had open nets, they had opportunities, and the shot was just off target. So if we want to see something different from the Highlanders here, they just need to be a little bit more accurate. I've got faith they can do so here in Game 2 and take us to a Game 3, but I mean, Trevor, you've been around the block here enough times. We know the usual in the Atlantic Community Open. If you lose the first one in the best of 3, most likely you're going down in a sweep.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to bounce back, and that's one of the problems here, and one of the things that we touched on before going into this series at all. I mean, the fact of a team that comes out with momentum and starts out with this early goals, early possession, early setting the pace, creating the tempo, it just whatever team steps up and does that first and foremost has a significantly better chance not only to win that game, but then to take the series in a sweep, because now all of a sudden there is a back against the wall from the perspective of the losing side. In this team, it is the Highlanders who are now facing this win or go or lose or go home situation. That's pretty much it. Like, they have to win this game. They have to fix the mistakes they made in the last game. It's not a lot of time to bounce back. There's not a lot of time to talk to your teammate, figure out how do we adjust into this next series? How do we face off against a really talented squad in the Night Garden team to be able to stand a fighting chance, to put the offense together, to have more than 15 seconds of a possession, you know, to stop that offense from attacking the other way. You know, there's so many things to discuss and not a lot of time to do it.
And this is why it pays to have a coach and have someone in the background who's able to just sort of sit there, watch back the matches on Twitch, and then go back into your comms and just kind of go, hey, guys, you have X, Y, and Z that you've done wrong. Adjust that, and you should be fine. But no such luck. These guys aren't signed. This is not a 3v3 tournament. This is a 2v2 tournament. So a lot of that normal a bit of support you're going to get is kind of gone out the window. So I've got faith in the team to get it done here, but it's really up to the Highlanders to dazzle us and impress us. Game number 2 underway in this best of 3. And as we mentioned before, Caribou, it is win or go home. If the Highlanders do not make this one, that is the end of their day. And I gotta say, it's a little bit unfortunate. It does feel like both of these teams could have had really deep runs here, but they just ended up getting paired up in the first round, and, you know, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, with the randomization of seeding, it's one of those things. Wiz going to be able to make this save to stop Storms from getting their first goal here. And again, to put it to where it is, Wiz with a great follow right there. Another one from Mike coming from midfield, but they just can't get this one. That flip to the side, not going to put enough momentum behind it to send it wayward into the back of the net. Kemi in the air is going to be challenged there by both of the defenders to stop this one to come through. But the opening minute and a half, just like last game from the Highlanders, makes it look so good. And on the break, like Mike's going to get the first goal of this game.
Huge difference here, though, is this midfield presence and this just courage we are seeing out of the Highlanders here. They are not giving space to Night Guard and G's at all right now, and that is massive to them. If they want to stay in this game, they need to try and shut this team down and not give them easy space and easy goals. And well, they almost just gave them an easy goal. Kickoff not really going in favor of the Highlanders, and oh boy, neither is the play afterwards. Kemi going to equalize within about 10 seconds.
That did not take long. Storms just took that midfield boost underneath from Mike, and at that point, because of that, Mike could not get back in front of the net just fast enough, just relying on a couple of the small boost pads to be able to try to get in front of the net. But too little, too late at that point. Like you said, the equalizer coming through, and this is a point now where the Highlanders, as you said, brave and courageous, whatever you want to call it, in that opening 60 seconds, you cannot let a lone goal like that get in your head. And Mike tried to do it one more time to take the lead back, but I'd love to see the Highlanders continue this trend of just that little extra spice, a little extra zest in their play that was lacking in game 1.
I like it. I really do like this over-aggression, and like you said, just that little bit of spice, that creativity that they were lacking in the first game has started to show itself here in the second. But they need to be careful. A big thing about Night Garden that we saw is that once they find momentum, oh boy, do they run with it. Once they get that confidence to start making risky challenges, they will do it on repeat until it fails. And, well, first game, it really didn't fail. They finished off with a dominant scoreline. So here in the second, they're trying to do the same. But so far, no success here. Only a single goal to show for all this offensive pressure. And with 3 minutes remaining, it's coming down to crunch time. The next goal is going to be crucial. It could be in favor of the Highlanders because, my oh my, they're also really stepping up on defense right now, Trevor.
Yeah, they're really getting a lot better touches on the ball on either side, whether it be on the offensive or the defensive front here. But Storm's going to try to take this one in. You saw Wiz there in front, but Kemi was lurking behind, just threatening a demo or a bump on the defender, just could not get contact made. So all staying around midfield, which, as you said, is where we've seen the Highlanders really step up to challenge this midfield presence and have at least a little bit of disruption for the Night Garden G's offensive pressure that, as you again mentioned, the amount of pressure that they put on, they still only have that lone goal to show for it, which I think is a huge W on the Highlanders front. They just have to be able to find their own opportunity and create something here because time ticking on this side.
Time ticking away here. It's getting bleaker and bleaker for every chance that the Highlanders throw at their opponents because it's at the risk of the counterattacks here. You can see Mike really desperate to get back there, and it's one of these things where this is such a close game that all it takes is one single play. And how about that one? Like for Mike 777 with a dunk off the ceiling. Oh my word, is that an exclamation point?
From the top ropes coming in right there, and it looked like Night Garden was just prepping themselves for a counterattack very quickly. Kenny up there cherry picking with almost full boost, was ready for the ball to come across, but the dunk from the ceiling was just enough to get the backspin on, put it on target, give them a go-ahead goal.
My word, that is an impressive way to put yourselves up on top, but unfortunately, you still have to try and fight here for the next 90 seconds. As much as you might have put yourselves in the lead here, we know Night Gardens are a team that are resilient. They are not going to back down no matter what. They might even be able to find themselves a goal pretty quickly here. Follow-up touch. Does Storms have it? Yes, indeed. Slots it past the last two defenders, and we are all tied up yet again.
A really good job by Kemi just to wait that one out, to make Wiz miss on the front half, and then just try to get past the second one. And from the challenge on that second defender, take them out of the equation virtually. And good shadowing there by Storms to be able to recognize what Kimi's going to do. And at that point, just wait for the follow-up, wait for the contact, and then put yourself in position to get the shot on, tie this game back up. But again, see this answer back from the Highlanders. They look so much better and so much more confident in their own play in this game that they are just immediately knocking on the door one more time.
They're trying their best. They're both teams, I would say, at this point, really trying to just either finish this one up or fight for their life here. And oh my word, with a touch like that, Night Gardens kind of deserve to just take this one in two. What a beautiful pass out of Storm.
Just barely even touching it with the corner of the car to put it in a position, bounce it off the wall. Kenny with a great read. And that is a type of play you're only going to get with a duo that has played together and has the experience of playing countless hours together and just understanding, where the other player needs to be, where that ball is going to go, and just reading that one front to back. Storm's going to take this one solo through the air just to put a little bit of insurance on the lead. 43 seconds to go, and Night Garden just want to put no doubt on this that they are taking this one home.
I have a feeling that they're taking this one home. With 43 seconds left, I mean, it's possible that there could be this goal here and that there could be this comeback that starts something, but, not if they're faking out kickoffs here. Storm brilliantly reads the fake perfectly. Oh, but Kemi can't find the follow-up touch. That one goes in. I'm confident saying that's the end of the game. Now, there's a little bit of an opportunity here. The Highlanders definitely do have a chance to try and pull this one back. Well, this is a good touch out of Mike. Can they get the follow-up? Yes, they can. This is on target. No, it's not. Off the bar and out. And I hate to say it, but Caribou, I think that'll seal the deal on the series.
That was just about the last straw right there. Going to put one more on top. Storm's going to take that one coast to coast, and that was a full commitment from the Highlanders to try to put that one in. They got so close to it, like you said, just above the crossbar. But at that point, it is that full offensive commitment that will take them out of the equation. Defense not there soon enough. So Night Garden in a lot closer of a fashion here in the second game. You can't take anything away from the Highlanders of what they've done here in their rebound to this one. The score will not reflect it, but they looked so much better in improvement. Unfortunately, though, this is a single elimination, and that means the Highlanders are going to be going home.
We talked about this last week a lot. The competition is only going to get fiercer the further we get into the month, and that is why Night Guard and G's have returned here, a familiar face to the Atlanta Community Open, and, well, a threatening one at that. They've had good results multiple different times. They've had good results today already as they take themselves a 2-0 victory. And again, against a team that are no slouches. That was an impressive showing on both sides. It's just unfortunate that, well, they had to face each other in the first round, but as we look back upon the replays, it wasn't unfortunate for you, me, or the audience because, oh my word, did we get ourselves a series.
We absolutely did. I mean, that first game, it was obvious that the Highlanders were a little slow to start. It took them a while, but once they finally did kind of get an idea of how to play against Chemi and Storms, which are a really solid duo, and I mentioned, Night Guard and G's are going to be a team certainly to watch. You know, of course, we'll have our returning two teams that went to the championship from last week's qualifier, but this is a team that very well could play spoiler to either one of them. So the fact that you see the Highlanders playing this well against a team of that caliber, I think says a lot about them, even though they go down in a 2-0. They had such a good bounce back in game number 2 where their offense just looked so much better, so much more confident in their play. They did not give the room anymore that we were talking about to the Night Garden team where they were challenging every ball. They didn't let them get comfortable in the offensive zone. But either way, I mean, the highlight reel from game number 1 really just shows how good this Night Garden team is.
Yeah, they really could go deep into this bracket here today, but like we said, a lot of really good teams have popped up. This is something Rome and I talked about last week where, hey, the first week was the day before RLCS qualifiers for North America. If you wanted a shot to sneak in while some of the North American competition was occupied, it was last week. Now, all of a sudden, we've got a ton of teams popping up out of nowhere, a lot of good bubble players, and the competition has stepped up fiercely. So, unfortunate here today that QU couldn't quite find themselves that necessary win, but I hope they can come back next week. I've got very, very, very high faith in this team. I think that if they are able to try this one again and get a little bit of a different first-round matchup, we could end up seeing them at the end of the month. But that's, you know, that's a tale for another day here. Fantastic play from both teams all around. Really, really fun first matchup. And again, that's the first matchup of the day, Trevor. We get that good of a back and forth in our first game.
Yeah, you can't ask for anything more out of that one. And as I said, going into the initial kickoff, hope we get an exclamation point. And we absolutely did. That and then some going through. Not to mention, there's a couple of other interesting things that have been going on in the background while we had that exciting first series. Lamar Esports, a team that has been here a time or two, has been eliminated in round 1. On top of that, the Wise Turkeys with Wavy's return and Rush also lost their round 1 matchup. So a couple of teams we already were talking about and have seen around the block, unfortunately, find a very early exit here in today's qualifier.
I gotta wonder what, maybe some of them were some forfeits. Maybe some of them were just the teams didn't show up in time. Who knows? Or maybe some people are just popping off out of nowhere. Those are all assumptions we can't make. All we can really do is look at the bracket for what it is and understand that, oh my word, we've got some crazy games on our hand here today. And Trevor, I'm getting excited, man. We've got a lot of really good stuff on our hands. We've got a lot of really good teams coming up here. And it's something where we're just going to have to find out what happens here. That's the first matchup of the night. But like we said, plenty more to come. What we're going to do, though, is figure out what exactly that next matchup is. But when we return from our break, we will have round number 2 of the Atlanta Community Open. Do not miss it. We're going to take a quick little break, get everything set up. But when we return, we will have even more Rocket League action. Yeah, just a little bit. I'm gonna give you a grab some water. And then... Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Atlanta Community Open. Once again, this is qualifier number 2 for the month of October. My name is Bast in the Past, and join alongside me here today once again is the lovely Confused Caribou. And Trevor, we're back. It's round 2. We've got some more matchups, and we've got some interesting ones here today because it's Hizzy and Bop versus Northway. Northway, a team which last week made it to the finals. Hizzy and Bop taking down a pretty big surprise to Mamere Esports round 1. And I'll be honest, Hizzy, a name I recognize that completely flew over my head when looking over rosters. I don't know how I missed this team, but I'm glad we're not going to miss them overall. We've got a banger of a matchup on our hands.
Yeah, this is just from your level of excitement. I already know. And this is when Pib and I would talk about, all these players that are here. We're completely clueless, like just banging our foreheads against a brick wall because we have no idea what's going on. But then you bring in the ingenuity and the brain power that you have, and now all of a sudden this is just that much better of a matchup because we know Pablo and Aqua. We've seen him time again. As you said, we're in the championship last qualifier as well, so we know what Pablo and Aqua are capable of, and the fact that you have this level of excitement and you know who Hizzy is tells me that this is going to be a really good matchup because of the fact that, well, you know who they are, so that means they're a big deal.
Relatively big deal. As far as I'm aware, Hizzy is a player in the EU bubble scene, which makes me think that they're most likely going to be an EU player. But again, you never really know. At this point, I'm trying to stay a little bit reserved because now that we've got people coming through here who are playing as other players but aren't actually that player, it makes me a little bit of I'll say on edge. I don't really want to try and throw myself too much into the deep end if someone all of a sudden comes through and they don't perform up to the level. But hey, that's my goal. I'm the hype man here. I'm here to make sure that everybody's excited for the matchup. Even if it doesn't deliver, at least we can get you guys excited for it. But I think this one will. Hizzy and Bop are a very strong team. I don't know if that's the Bop I'm familiar with. It could be Bop's Pops, which is a guy from North America who honestly isn't even really famous for his play as much as his Twitter memes. So not really sure if that's going to be necessarily the duo we're looking for, but either way, I think we should get a great matchup here, because at the end of the day, even if Hizzy and Bop do not perform, Northway will. They are a very capable team.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing what Northway is going to be capable of doing here in this one to make their return back in this one. As you said, all of the tables have been set up. We are ready for our first game here of round number 2 between them. Hizzy, of course, and Bop beating out Mamere Esports, like you said, now facing off against Northway that were in the championship of last week's qualifier. So looking to, again, continue their streak of success, or if Hizzy and Bop are going to find an answer, but immediately Pablo is going to take this one off the wall, put it off the post, and put the first goal on the board 7 seconds in.
Well, that was very quick to it. Northway seemingly not skipping a beat from last week where they dominated all the way through here. And, well, for Hizzy and Bop, that's probably not what they were looking for. I'm assuming that they're just going to try and play this one as patiently as possible. Don't necessarily want to overcommit here to start off because they know if they give too easy of a win to Northway, they will run away with it. 15 seconds into this one, though, and they will have at least one defensive stand here. But Pablo very quickly going to transition this one into a solid offense, trying to go for the dribble, but no such luck. So it's up to Aqua to try and contain this one on the back end. And now we're starting to see some more dives and risky plays from Hizzy and Bop. I think it took them a second to understand who they were playing, but now that they've got a little bit of a read, we might see a little bit more of an explosive game.
Yeah, that's one of those things, is being able to understand when and where to make your attack, and being able to understand in the first 10 seconds that, okay, this is a team that we cannot take lightly. We have to absolutely be playing on our A game. And now with that in mind, unfortunately giving up an early goal, they're going to have to find a way back into this one playing from behind. But I think that if, from what you've given credit to, that there's anybody that can do it, this team is more than capable, but they have quite the duo to stop here between Pablo and Aqua. Pablo trying to get another one. Just a slow little roller in front of the net, easily pushed away. But the amount of time they're spending on this side of the field, Pablo had a good shot there, a good opportunity to put a great shot on with a lot of velocity. Unfortunately, sends it high and sends it a miss. So, minute and a half gone. That lone goal 7 seconds in is the only one we've seen so far.
That's the only one. It really has started to feel a lot more tense since we got past that, but like you said, it is the only one we've seen so far, and sometimes that's just the way that it is. If one team comes out the gate swinging and all of a sudden both teams then realize afterwards that maybe they should play a little bit reserved, it's the team that struck first that's going to end up taking this one. And, ooh, not if Bop has anything to say about it, though. Open net, can they get around to the angle? No such luck. Zero boost in the tank and played it just a little bit too slowly, so Aqua will come through and shut down the offense altogether. Perfectly timed demo, and Northway starting to recognize that their opponents are going to be a bit of a threatening team. Oh, but they can get rid of them altogether if they can bump them both. Pablo, I think, literally bumped both of the players on that play.
Yeah, just made the first one miss there, that first bump right there, and then the second one. You get a defender to bite and then a double bump to just open the door for Aqua to come through. And again, as we talked about with the last game, that is just a pre-existing synergy between Pablo and Aqua of a couple players that have played together for quite a while, and what they already know about the reliability of their teammate and the fact that they were able to get that taken care of, to get an insurance goal coming up on the halfway mark is such a huge statement here. Bob trying to get one back. Great save by Pablo on the near post. Be able to keep this one at the 2-0 score line. And if you're able to shut out a team as obviously respected as Hizzy and Bob in the first game, I think that just bodes so well for you going into game number 2.
Yeah, that's the big thing here is that as long as you can get yourself on the right foot forward and just put yourself in a good place, I think that you'll be able to start running away with this thing, because Hizzy and Bop have shown they are no slouches. They are a very threatening team, but the unfortunate truth is that Northway have just had a little bit of an edge on them the entire time. It's only the slightest bit of an edge, but sometimes that edge is what separates the two teams, and it might just separate them here in game number 1 of this best of 3. Northway up by 2 with 2 minutes remaining. And Bop a little bit hesitant out of midfield here. Not sure if it's really a team you want to give space to there. Pablo easily transfers this one out from midfield, and I don't think this is a team you can play like that against. If you play hesitant against Northway, they're going to find gaps like that. They are far too speedy, so making the littlest mistake, but that one hesitation out from midfield started all of this and led to this Northway goal.
Yeah, the demo in the corner, I mean, there's no chance on the respawn to come back in time, plus chasing down. I mean, there's only one option you have at that point, and it's get back to the net as fast as you possibly can. A double fake on the kick, and Aqua's going to get first touch on that one, but 90 seconds to go, 3-goal deficit. This is certainly going to be a tall order for Hizzy and Bob to try to find an answer back. But like I said, a shutout for Northway is going to go a long ways here in this series, because, again, with the same conversation, if you get the first game up, you obviously just have this significant advantage going into game number 2, not only for the series lead, but also just for the confidence overall of facing off against your opponents.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that confidence is really such a huge thing in Rocket League. Momentum, a huge thing in Rocket League as well. And, well, confidence seems to be one of the big things that Northway do have right now. They'll obviously take momentum if they can take the 3-0 sweep, but the fact that they've got both and are executing upon both of those pretty much entirely accurately, as Aqua makes a fantastic save in front of the net, means that Northway are here to play again today. They are ready to take this one all the way back to the finals, and this time they want to take a dominant victory in the end. I've got faith this team can do so. They look fantastic right now, but the truth of the matter is it's only game number 1 of this best of 3. If we see a turnaround out of Hizzy and Bob in the second game, I would not be surprised, but first they got to stop the scoring from Northway. Pablo given an easy shot after the double touch out from midfield here, and honestly, can't really blame Hizzy and Bob for not saving that one, but also at the same time, you got to expect shots like that out of Northway at this point.
Just having the expectation that at any given moment, with the slightest advantage, the slightest opportunity, Northway absolutely will jump all over that one to get another goal on the board, regardless if it's a 3-0 scoreline. Aqua trying to take this one in the air solo, but cannot finish that play off, so Bob trying to get an answer, gets demoed there at midfield, so not much more to come from that. Pablo, not a lot of boost here, be able to carry this one, but a game 1 victory for Northway, again, just really sets the tone here for this series and for not only this series alone, but for their tournament experience today, because a team that's been a team that has a lot of success, as Shocks would put it, it starts with success, and then you curse the team, and they're going to end up losing at some point along the way. But this team has started with success. Northway has put themselves in a position now where they've set the momentum not only for themselves in this series, but for the rest of tonight's event. So if they can continue to play at this level, this is a team that is certainly on track to make it very far in tonight's bracket.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100% on that one. I really do think that they've got the potential to go all the way to the end here. But, I mean, the big thing about it is that they're going to have to try and continue with the momentum they found in game number 1. And as we look back upon the replays from game number 1, here brought to you by Microsoft ATL, you can really start to see where they took all of this momentum from. It wasn't just the fact that they were getting good goals, but it was the fact that they were really dismantling the defense while doing so. They recognized the vulnerability in the defense and just poked and prodded until eventually they found a gap gap, whether it was bumps, whether it was fantastic solo plays, whether it was a combination of both. It just kind of looked like they were in control the entire time. Northway really had a handle on this game, had an idea of how they wanted to play it, and executed upon that perfectly.
Yeah, they just felt in control for the entire duration of that 5 minutes. They just looked so good on that process. But also talking about taking advantage of the defense, not only do you take advantage, and this is a point that eventually will continue to come up, as you've alluded to earlier on, that as this bracket progresses, the competition just gets that much more fierce, and you cannot afford to make any mistakes. And that's where you start to give credit to those really good teams, those elite teams that don't even they obviously recognize the mistakes that you're going to make, but they also force you to make mistakes. And that's kind of a thing that you see right there with Pablo and Aqua, is that they forced the defense out of the way. They forced the openings to then create opportunities on their offensive production. And that is the thing that if you want to do very well in these events, in these community opens, you got to be able to do that.
Yeah, you really do have to create your own opportunities. It's one thing to try and wait on those opportunities, but if you can't make them, if you can't force them, you're going to be usually at the disadvantage here. So I've got faith that we can see in the second game a little bit more of a competitive back and forth here, but I would agree. I think Hizzy and Bop just need to give themselves those opportunities here. We saw a lot of hesitation from the team that left space for Northway to develop some greater plays, and if you want to try and counter that, obviously, one, don't give the space to Northway, but two, take that lack of space and run it into offense as well. Use that space that they have started to give you because you're giving it to them, and just punish them for it. Go into an offense, develop something greater. Don't look for solo plays. Go for some passing plays, something a little bit more intricate, because at this point, you've got to stun Northway. We've seen this multiple times now, multiple weeks in a row here. They're a capable team. If you don't come out with just an insane shot, they're going to easily save it, and then most likely counterattack and score on you with that exact same sequence.
Yeah, and that's a team that we know is completely capable of doing that time and time again, and they're just going to run that score up. And I think that this is almost a little bit of a mirror from our first series matchup, because looking to see what happened in that first one, obviously game one, a little more one-sided than you probably expected, but look for the answer from Hizzy and Bop here in game number 2 to make those adjustments, to find their way back into this one. They're already doing better. We're 8 seconds in this time and have not given up a goal on this point. So we're doing at least a little bit better. Now they just have to make sure that they maintain and continue some level of improvement here in this game. And I think that, as you said, just taking away that free space that they gave Northway in game 1 is a great place to start.
Ooh, just like that, getting a bump at the perfect time is going to lead to Bopster taking a shot on target. Pablo will make the save, but I like this. Hizzy and Bop getting in the face of their opponents. They would be there for the follow-up, but Aqua gets a good bump, but it's at least enough to continue the offense overall. Is he waiting in the wings? We'll pop this one up high. Can't get the follow-up from a bump from Pablo, and that's something we've also seen a lot in the series for both teams. The physicality from both sides has been a lot of fun to watch, because in 2v2s, you don't always get that physical play. It occasionally pops up, but there's been an emphasis on that one in this series.
And that's the thing that I love to see, because I feel like some teams just don't take advantage enough. There's some of that passing you're talking about. Bop trying to get one over to Hizzy. Puts a shot on target, but it is deflected by the awaiting wheels of the defender. Demo there on the Bop, trying to create an opportunity to go the other way, but still scoreless coming up on a minute and a half into this game. And both teams have had a fair opportunity on this one, but just waiting for that level of physicality to open the door wide enough for one of these teams to get the go-ahead, take advantage early, or Bob's going to take it solo. Good putback on the rebound, but it's not going to go in just yet. Ball cleared back out to midfield, and Hizzy and Bob showing some significantly more signs of life in this game too.
Yeah, they're playing this one a lot more controlled. It felt like a lot of panic developed in game number 1, where they just kind of left the back half open because they were throwing everything at an offense at which they were hoping to develop. In this one, they seem a lot more in control, whether it's been offense or defense, both. Even throughout that entire play, I did not think Northway were going to score, because Hizzy and Bop just looked prepared on defense. There was no shot that was going on target that they did not seem ready for. And this is a big difference from game number 1, where it just did not look in control or in favor of this team the entire time. Oh boy, but it's not going to look in favor of them for that moment. Aqua dismantling the defense here. Fakes out high, pops this one low, and pops it over both of the players. That is one heck of a way to take down the two teams.
And typically you would just expect a player that still has that much boost in their pocket to use it. Use the flip reset, put some emphasis on that, put some velocity behind that ball, and just send it into the goal. Instead, great patience from Aqua, who I think is one of the most notorious players too, playing patiently in this game and playing so well and reading the ball. Does it again to get an insurance goal on the lead now, just shy of the halfway point. But that first goal from Aqua, just playing it so slow and making the defense, forcing them to make a mistake, got them to bite, got the first goal, now getting the second as well. That's just pure Aqua play.
100%, I would agree with you on that one. At this point, it really is just starting to show that Aqua knows what they're doing at any point on the field here. They're recognizing what type of gameplay their opponents are running with right now, and they're just completely exploiting that. Izzy and Bob not playing this one poorly, but the unfortunate truth is that because they're taking so long to develop these nicer plays on offense, it's going to give opportunities to try and bait them in and then force a counterattack, and that's exactly what Aqua is doing right now. He's waiting for them to dive on offense, waiting for these little bit of overexposing points, and then just taking the most advantage of it while they have the chance. And oh my word, they're also hitting flip resets like that. It's not going to hit the back of the net, but the fact of the matter is that space is starting to develop again. Northway was getting shut down on the ground, but now that the aerial play has started to develop, Hizzy and Bop are giving them way too much time and space up in the air.
Yeah, they're just letting Aqua do whatever Aqua wants to do with the ball in the air and take that one coast to coast, almost getting that one, just kissed the line and could not quite get the finish on it, but still up 2-0, 90 seconds to play now. Northway right where they want to be, facing off against a really good squad with Hizzy and Bop, but having at least a little bit of life from Hizzy and Bop, they just have to be able to find a way to finish this and take that space back. And I think the confidence of the play from Aqua is enough to at least put that hesitation in the minds between this blue side, because they just are not playing the same way that they did for the opening 2 minutes as they have in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that consistency is a huge factor in this game, and when you can really shake that one up and a team isn't really necessarily ready for that adaptation, it can throw everything out the window and it can really change the outcome overall. Like you said, first couple minutes of this game, very close. The latter half of them, though, not so much. Northway found their success, found their offensive strategies, and really just continued to just show this offensive domination here. Fantastic play all around. Northway really showing why they're one of the highest seeds coming into this qualifier. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to continue with this success throughout the day. I would say so. When you're hitting flip resets like that, I'm not sure who is going to stop you.
And just a great transition as well. Like, I was about to give credit to Northway. I'm like, you know, their offense, sure, Aqua's gotten a couple of goals and they looked good for what they were, but their defense has really stood up here on what Hizzy and Bob tried to do in increasing their own presence and pressure in the offensive zone. But the defense of Northway did a great job at really stopping and slowing down any confidence that Hizzy and Bob were trying to build up. And then they take a good defensive stand with 30 seconds to play, only up 2 goals, and immediately just counter it all the way to make that aerial attack to get the goal scored. That one, a little bit of a miscommunication there between the duo of Aqua and Pablo. It's going to send that one to the back of the net and get a goal back here. Aqua probably credited for that one on the own goal, but still, at this point, 2 goals up, 8 seconds. It's not out of the question, but it's not going to be easy.
I mean, it's not out of...
Oh,
okay. I was going to say it's not out of the question. It's very unlikely. Not if Aqua just doesn't go for kickoff, though.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I think we basically have the same reaction here, which is, all right, I guess that's how this is going now. Intense kickoff. This is an important one. It's actually up on the wall. There's a chance, unless Aqua just scores this one outright. There's absolutely a shot, but no such luck. Northway will just barely get that one down and take it in 3-2 fashion. And that, I'll be honest, Caribou, that got a lot closer than I was expecting in those last 10 seconds.
That was supposed to be a 3-0, and then all of a sudden it was 3-1 off an own goal, and then 20 seconds later it's a 3-2 off of just a decision, I guess, to not go for a kickoff. I don't know. Like, I understand, okay, the conservative play to be like, we're up to under 10 to play. Like, it should be fine just as long as they don't score on this one. But I feel like you have to have at least some challenge. Like, you don't have to full send to the kickoff, but at least have some step up to the then movement to go from midfield to their attacking zone. So like there should have been at least something there that neither one of them did. Uh, at the end of the day, they still walk away with the W. So sweat off the brow and moving on.
They are moving on, but we're going to move back for just a second. I'm going to look back at the replays here for the entirety of the series, brought to you by Microsoft ATL, and really see exactly how we got to this result here. Northway, like we said, Game 1 looked pretty dominant. Game 2, we didn't think it would be as dominant, but by the end of that one, they really did show their dominance, you know, aside from those last 10 seconds. We'll kind of, you know, just put a little asterisk next to those last 10 seconds.
Yeah, we just don't have to talk about what happened there, but obviously the amount of pressure that they put on really in game 1 and game 2. I mean, there was a little bit of a lull there for a couple of minutes where Hizzy and Bop really started to find their own rhythm and find their own momentum in game number 2, but it was just the overriding confidence that happened from game number 1 of Pablo and Aqua was just enough. And to the point, you know, they had the shutout going. They were looking so good on that one. Of course, with the asterisk on top of that, they just really showcase that they showed up to play today, and a team that, as you said, is seated so highly in our community open, and just the amount of respect that they already have from the success that they have seen. This is a team that at this point it's almost an expectation for them to get out of round 2 into round 3, pushing quarters and semifinals. So being able to have a performance like this against a duo of Hizzy and Bob that looked like that is, I think, a huge stroke of confidence for this squad moving on.
Yeah, that's a big thing here, is that it's a lot of good confidence that just goes into this team that really can propel them throughout the rest of the day here. Hizzy and Bop, I hope it's another team that we end up seeing coming back here, because I really do think they've got a good shot at being able to make a deep run if they can, you know, get a little bit more of a fortunate matchup earlier in the series. But, I mean, that's the way it goes. Every once in a while, you have a team that would like to not have that matchup in the first round, but I say this often. If you're not prepared to win this whole thing, why are you showing up? That's the reality here, is that if you want to make a deep run, you got to be ready for every single opponent that you have. And Hizzy and Bop, as good as they did look here today, they couldn't take down the Kings in Northway. So let's see. Maybe we get a different result here in our next matchup, but I have a feeling I know who I'm going to be picking in our next matchup. We're moving back again to Night Guard and G's versus Team 5OK. I'm interested to see how these guys do here, because Juicy and Frosty at this point have had a great day. They are 2-0 so far in their first tournament on CMG. But against a team like Night Gardens, they're going to have a lot of difficulty. They are not an easy team to take down, and even if you do end up taking the win, it is going to be a very heavily contested road to get there.
Yeah, this is another one of those things where, as you talk about at every single matchup so far, of course, with the random seeding, this team would be feeling so much better if they just didn't get drawn against insert at this point Night Guard and G's. Like, it's just unfortunate that you have to face off against a duo again as strong as Kemi and Storm. So what they've accomplished here in our community opens, and again, I think in agreement with you, this is a team that should, or a series that should favor the Night Garden squad. But with the start that getting a 2-0 between Frosty and Juicy, being able to get to this point now in round number 3, there's always those surprising teams that absolutely could come out and send a message to a squad that has looked so good every time they show up. And sometimes maybe you just don't show up exactly how you wanted to, and Team 50K might be able to take something away here.
Listen, I am hoping that we get this really interesting back and forth here, where all of a sudden we have a team that just kind of surprises us and all of a sudden pops off here. If Juicy and Frosty can be that team, I'd love to see it, because we have one of them pretty much every week. Heck, Northway was that team last week where they came into this one and we went, not really so familiar with these guys. I've heard of Pablo and Aqua a couple of times, but all of a sudden they come through and just pop off. So maybe that's going to be 50K here today. I'm hoping that it's going to be 50K here today. I've got faith that at minimum we get a good back and forth here. But again, it's one of these things where the team that starts off on the right foot almost always takes it. We've seen it twice here today. We've seen it countless other times in other Atlanta Community Open qualifiers. So it's really all eyes on 50K here. If they can get the win in the first match, I've got faith that we can see a good back and forth. But if Night Garden take it out the gate, it's probably going in favor of Night Garden again.
Yeah, and just being able to have the confidence and being able to get themselves in a position again to start out not only the series, but also today's event and what they have done so far. Night Guard Chiefs are just rolling at this point and looking to see what they can do going into their next matchup. The first matchup here of our quarterfinals between Team 50K and the Night Guard Chiefs. Kemi and Storms, a duo that has been around the block a time or two. looking to continue their success today.
And here we go, matchup number 3. And for you lovely folks who have just joined us on Xbox, welcome to it. We've got some really high-level Rocket League action, and right out of the gates, we're already displaying it. Bag of Pancake with a very narrow angle. We'll slot that one in for the early lead for 50K.
A great angle to take right there. Just surprising that you saw that opening from the Night Garden side, and the fact that they were able to take advantage of that one and get that early goal to get that go-ahead, I think is a lot here to say about Team 50K, but answer right back, similar to what we saw in the last series. Okay, recognition of what your opponent is capable of. Kemi and Storm's going to play this one once, not twice off the backboard, setting up Storms for the shot on goal, got the defense to commit a little too far forward and get the equalizer.
There we go, all equaled up within the first 20 seconds or so of play here. Night Gardens, as we mentioned earlier, are probably the favorites coming into this one, but already we're showing that 50K are no slouches. Fantastic save off the bar there, but it's not going to be enough to end the offense overall. Bag of Pancakes will try and do exactly that, but a touch out into the corner from Kemi is really just going to keep this one on the offensive side. No such luck in the follow-up link-up here, but I like this. We're seeing this patient play. Night Garden, once they start to develop these plays, they can become so incredibly threatening. Just takes them a second to get warm, and, well, a minute into this game, it does look like they are warm again. Kemi trying to go for a little bit of a fake out in front of the net, gets 2 players to dive at once, and with 50 boost in the tank, should be able to set up something intricate. Tries to go for the ceiling touch, gets the pass out, and it will find Storms. IG Pig slams this one home, and Night Garden again continue to stunt.
Night Guard they took this ball from side to side, back and forth 3 or 4 times in front of the net, and there was no challenge at all, or a minimal challenge from 50K to be able to step up and just try to disrupt that. And that's one of the points that we talked about earlier about Night Guard and G's as well, but just in general is that you cannot give a team that much room to work with, and the fact that they had so much time uncontested on that side of the field is just mildly concerning from the 50K defensive stance as to they have to be able to find something more, because Night Guard and G's are going to capitalize, and they're going to take advantage of your lack of defense every single time, and they're just going to continue to run the score up.
Yeah, that's a big thing there, is that they're really going to exploit any team that's got a weak defense here. And to be honest, 50K doesn't even have that weak of a defense. They just don't have a defense that is prepared for what Night Garden are throwing at them, which is, well, everything. Whether you're on the ground, in the air, somewhere in midfield, they've got a shot that can, oh no, I was going to say throw into the back of the net at any moment. Well, apparently that was not the moment to do so, though. Storm's not going to put that one on target, and looks like Kemi's a little bit mad. They're bumping their teammate all the way out of midfield. Says, yeah, you guys deserve the equalizer after that miss of an open net.
Yeah, there's just no reason that really should have been that bad, but yeah, you see the 2 orange names just disappearing off the left side of the screen, and left that one wide open the other way. Kemi just coming back in time to get your picture taken, but a 2-2 scoreline now, under 3 to play at this point, and I think at this point now you're going to see Kemi and Storms get back on track, put themselves back in position, try to go for a flip reset there. Storms losing control of that one. You see carried now. He's going to try to take this the other way, but does get challenged and lose it, coming to the top of the box. And now we'll see what Storms can do. Does get bumped off the ball by Pancake, but it doesn't matter because the ricochet off the ceiling is somehow enough to put it on target. A great initial stance on the bump, but somehow it still makes its way to the back of the net.
That's got to feel so bad for 50K. They're like, hey, we just got back into this one. It may have been a little bit of an odd goal to give us that equalizer, but now that we're back into this one, let's see if we can do something with, oh, and it's in the back of our net. That's just got to be deflating. I cannot feel anything but bad for the team at that point. But, oh no, I was going to say they might be able to equalize it already here. Not really that great of a touch afterwards, though. Bag of Pancake will set it up, but Carried Campbell just going to wait on the back half here. And this is not a team you want to wait against. We mentioned this earlier with Night Gardens. You start giving them space, they're going to punish you on repeat.
Oh, absolutely. And that it's just a point now of waiting for it to happen to see when are the Night Guard and G's going to step up to take advantage of that one. Good little 1-2 that's going to go down the field, and just recognizing a defense a little too far forward. They're going to be able to play this one off just shy of midfield and get this one on target. You see Kemi just put enough sauce on it. Pancake could not quite catch up. Carried too far forward is going to give them another insurance goal just shy of the 2-minute mark.
Just shy of the 2-minute mark here. And, oh my word, just like that, though, they're back into it. How many times are we going to see them get punished from this? Night Garden really do love these fake kickoffs, and while some of them have worked, some of them have not so much. They almost let the door open in their last matchup. This time, they've let the team get even closer to equalizing again. It just feels like if Night Guard wanted to, they could run away with this thing, but apparently they really don't want to do that.
For some reason, they're just making this so much closer than I think that they should expect. Good fake right there. That's some Aqua level patience that Kimmy just showed and is able to take this one after getting the defender to bite and get the insurance back.
All right, no, that's not allowed. We can't. No. We don't show bullying. We don't condone that on stream here. That is just filthy in the midfield there. Night Guard and G's continuing to show that they can score on you in any which way they desire, whether it be aerial passing plays that are basically freestyles, whether it is solo plays on the dribble, or even just faking out and showing you the most clever game you have ever seen. Night Guard and G's looking very capable here today. I'm happy to see the return of a team like this, and to be honest, Caribou, they look even stronger than the last time we saw them in the ATLOpen.
Yeah, somehow they've obviously put the time in, put the work in to make themselves that much better as they take a 6-3 lead now, playing, as you said, out that solo play in the corner. Doesn't matter how you do it, gets a little boost over the top, make sure the defenders cannot get to it. Storms takes that one home, gives the Night Guard and G's their 6th goal in this quarterfinal matchup. Still in a best of 3, but 50K off the kickoffs have seen pretty good luck and almost getting one to just tease the line there, but see the kick it in reverse between Storms and Kimmy both. At this point, it seems like they've made the agreement that they can only drive backwards.
Who did this last week? Someone did this last week. I want to say it was Northway. They were in a game where it was almost 10-1, and they decided, all right, maybe we should slow down on the scoring a little bit here. They're quite literally, they're just driving backwards. And the part here that is actually annoying is not the fact that they are driving backwards. It's the fact that they're driving backwards, and they're still defending well. I try driving backwards for 2 seconds, and I get flip reset on. These guys do it, and they make like 3 blocks in a row and then transition into an offense. Fantastic play all around here. Unfortunately, it will eventually come back to bite them, but with 34 seconds left, do you think the comeback's possible? They need 2 goals in 30 seconds or so, Caribou.
Well, give it another couple of fake kickoffs. I think anything's possible here for Team 50K. The amount of trolling that Night Guard and G's are trying to do right now. But I think that's also just kick it in reverse one time and then, okay, we gave up a goal. Now we just go back. Nope, never mind. They're going to keep going backwards. They do not care at this point. They have enough confidence that they can finish this one outright with this lead that they are comfortable with in reverse. But we'll see the last 20. I mean, obviously, this is now favoring 50K on the offensive stance. They got the bump on the last goal, but unfortunately, time is ticking, and they're just not getting the opportunity they want. They got a bite there, though. That's going to be a goal back.
Ooh, Carrion puts one in with 8 seconds left. Night Gardens, do they actually go for the kickoff here? That's the question I'm wondering, because it does kind of seem like they like the fake kickoff just to try and hold possession, but they need to actually sell the fake kickoff. Doing a 180 into the corner is not a fake kickoff. Going to the ball and then diving away is, but they not only go for kickoff, they do it backwards. They literally just went for that kickoff backwards, and it's going to result in a goal, isn't it? No, it's not. Bag of Pancake going to smack that one out to the side, but it does result in the same sort of overall score line here. 6-5, Night Guard and G's take victory here in game number 1 in an 11-goal game. I mean, yes, Team 50K did get a couple of really good chances due to the fact that Night Garden started messing around a little bit there, but close series nonetheless here. Caribou, there is a chance that we do have a best of 3 that could go to 3.
Yeah, Pancake really just started that one off looking really solid. We take a look at the replays powered by Microsoft ATL to see how that did start. It was 2 seconds in, and they got like immediately what seemed like their first goal. It didn't take any time at all. It was 11 seconds. What semantics at this point, but they gave up the first one on a really tight angle. But then we saw a couple of fake kickoffs where it was the same, where literally only 2 seconds did come off the clock. But Storms and Kemi, at some point in the mid-game, really just started to step up and kind of take a little more control of this one. This one's going to be given back because of a missed opportunity on an open net and just to make it the equalizer. But that was the point now where Kemi and Storms really stepped up, really tried to accentuate the lead and the prowess that they had in this game. That gave them a comfortable enough position that they can just drive in reverse. And sure, you give up more, but you're looking at the score sheet. Yeah, it's a 6-5 final score. But there was also 11 shots from Kemi and Storms. On the other side, there was only 6 shots from pancake and carried. And at that point, you look at it, yeah, 6 shots. 2, maybe 3 of those were freebies given to you by Kemi and Storms doing nonsense.
I mean, nonsense is the lightest way we can put it here. The crazy part about this, though, is it still just kind of feels like they were even dominating even with the nonsense there. Obviously, we got close to an equalizer, but like you said, without those gifted goals there, do we really see 50K in this battle? Not really sure, but it's up to 50K to try and prove us wrong here in game number 2 here. They've got to try and just pull out all the stops. There's no two ways about it. They're facing one of the strongest teams in this entire bracket. They need to make sure that they not only slow them down, but also develop an offense for themselves. Something we've seen a lot here today against multiple teams, especially teams that are coming in against a rank that is a little bit higher than them, is they're giving too much space. They are very patient on defense. And against a team like Night Garden, who can quite literally set up a shot from anywhere. We've seen it from midfield, from in front of your net, from a flick, from a fake, from a million other things I could rattle off here. You can't give them space. You give them space, that's a death sentence. They're going to score something spectacular on you. And they did that 6 times in the last game.
Yeah, and that's a lot here for Night Garden as to what they're capable of, because they are capable of anything and everything from any angle, every angle on the pitch. And, what they're going to do is exactly that. Take advantage of any of that leeway that you do give them. So I think I'd like to see 50K step up a little more aggressively on the defensive stance. Obviously not so aggressive that you're going to just bite on every fake, because Kemi and Storms absolutely are capable of just faking you out and making you miss those, and then they're going to run the score up. But I think that's also almost a fault of their own success, right? Because at that point, maybe you get a little complacent with your lead. You feel a little overconfident. You drive in reverse. You give up a couple of goals, and you miss an open goal. I mean, there's just something to give here for Night Garden G's. They just got to make sure that at the end of the 5 minutes that they have more goals than their opponents, which obviously that's what the objective is going to be here for them. But sometimes that nonsensical play might come back to bite you.
Yeah, it's really a little bit of a different scenario here, I would say. Night Garden have got a lot of confidence, but let's see if that overconfidence comes back to bite them. We're in game number 2 here of this best of 3. It's up to Night Garden to try and close this one out here and finish it off outright. That's going to be a lot easier said than done, as Team 50K are starting to get a little bit warmer here, are starting to get themselves some momentum. But if they concede early here, that might just take away all of said momentum, as a shot will ring off the bar, but Kemi is there for the follow-up.
Not once, not twice, but thrice. They finally get the 3rd shot in to go. 20 seconds gone off the clock, and this is just the amount of rotating pressure that Kemi and Storms has. And we saw in their first goal of the last game, very patiently, just taking the ball back and forth across the top of the box. And this point, they just went for a full aggressive on that point. A fake kickoff one more time. Kemi's going to play this one off to the corner. 2 Storms has got a lot of boost to work with here. Look for the flip reset or the play off to the teammate lurking at the midfield, but instead it does get challenged in the corner. Kemi's going to challenge again in front of the box. And now looking to see that for the time being, Night Garden G's have really upped the ante on this one, because they want to make sure that they get a lead that they can work with here, and then they can do their nonsense if they want.
Yeah, every once in a while you've got a team like this who, it's not about making sure that you guys don't score goals. It's about making sure you score less than we do. And, well, that's kind of the Night Garden strategy right now, is get the goals in while they've got the chance. First minute here, 45 seconds into this one, and oh my, they're already going back to the fake kickoff strategies. Listen, I'm a fan of fake kickoffs. When I started my Rocket League career, I was so anti-fake kickoff because it felt like maybe 20% of the time it would pay off for what was a failure of the other 80. This time, though, I am a fan, only not so early in this one. Night Garden have already scored 3 goals, obviously, in the first minute, so I can't really bag on the rest of what they're doing here, but usually you wait for the fake kickoff. You save it until, like, the last minute when it's, like, this really tense play and you want to pull a fast one on the other team. They're doing it in their 3rd kickoff of the match. They're going to do it again, aren't they? No, they did not. This time Storms actually goes for it, but, yeah, I mean, the creative strategies, as I will call them here, for Night Garden have got me a little bit nervous, but when you're up 3-0, I don't really know how nervous I can be for a team that just looks this dominant.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly that, is that Kemi and Storms have just realized that regardless of what the scoreline says, regardless of what is on the board, statistically speaking, they just had the confidence that it does not matter what they do or what strategy they're employing, is that they are going to beat you. And it does not matter how, because like you said, it doesn't matter if you score 5 goals, they're going to score 6. It doesn't matter if you demo them on the way back, if they score an own goal, if they open the door for you and bump each other off the defense to give you a goal after a mistake on the offensive side, it does not matter. This team's still going to beat you. And I love that confidence that Kimmy and Storms have, that Night Guard and G's is showing, because it's just a brilliant, shining play style that they have. They just exude that confidence. And I love that, not only in just this game, but in esports in general, is that you just have that much confidence that you can do whatever you want and get away with it. Until you get punished, keep doing it.
That's the big key words there, is until you get punished. And as it stands right now, I don't think 50K are going to punish them. But I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to 50K. They're still playing this at full force. These guys have not backed down whatsoever. They may have recognized that they're not going to end up taking this series, but they're using this as a learning experience. And when you when you get into an open bracket like this, where neither team is necessarily going to, come at the same level playing field here, you could have had a different bracket altogether that got you here. It's about making sure that you just continue to grind and make sure that you improve every single time that you play. And the best way to improve is playing people who are better than you. So for 50K here today, they may not necessarily be able to take the win, but they can find a learning experience in the loss that they took here. Take some notes, look back upon the replays, look back upon the cast, and really understand where they were advantageous and where they fell behind their opponents. They're not necessarily going to completely fall, though. They are going to climb back up just for a little bit here, find themselves their first goal, and hey, this isn't even a goal where Night Gardens gave it to them. They just earned it. Good defense, eventually withstood, and then got the counterattack.
Yeah, they did a great job at withstanding that attack from Night Garden. I think to a point that's problematic in the sense that you gave that much time of possession to Night Garden on your defensive zone, but being able to stand up, put the brick wall in front of the net, and then take it the other way on a heavy commitment from the offensive front on the Night Garden side, you absolutely earned that goal, and now they just got to find a way to earn it back off the kickoff. They're with an offensive possession, just trying to find something to go, but at the end, well, that's not the direction you want to deflect the ball, but Kemi gets another one, compliments this time of carried.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that butt there. I was trying to figure that one out, see if maybe there's a reasoning behind all of that. But I'll put a little bit of a butt on this one, but I don't think that we're going to see 50K make the comeback here, because at this point, this is starting to look like 50K are a little bit out of this one. Yes, they are getting themselves some good offense. They are getting themselves some good chances here, but the unfortunate reality is they've got about 100 seconds to make a 4-goal comeback. That is difficult against pretty much any team, even if you are playing well against them. Against a team like Night Garden, which can quite literally just flip on a switch and then all of a sudden they dominate, I'm not so sure they're going to have the time. And, well, in the time that it took me to explain this, we're now down to the 90-second mark, and they're still struggling to even get an offense together. Carried going to try and take this one out from midfield, though. Good flick will be denied by Storms, though. And again, it's this constant pressure. Night Gardens aren't even letting them develop plays, let alone get an offense together.
Yeah, they're getting the ball to this side of the field, but similar to the last opponent on Night Garden, it's just pretty much a one and done, and there's not much more to go after that. It's just a simple possession. They don't really even get the one off. It's just a disruption, a challenge from Kimmy or Storms that puts the ball going the other way. A couple of demos on the side. That ball's going to go off the post, but 45 seconds to play. Still holding on to this 4-goal lead, and it just gets so much more difficult with each passing second, but your hopes are down to about a 1% here. Well, less than that now, as Carried has abandoned the ship, and this ship is sinking very quickly.
I think that the ship is already sunk, unfortunately. The captain's going to go down with it as well, though. I do appreciate that 50K are sticking it out. Every once in a while, you have someone who recognizes that the game is over, and they will just kind of dip on out, say GG's, and then call it there. We're not going to see that overall, though, here. I do believe one of the two players has dipped out, but Bag of Pancake will remain. We'll play out through the rest of this one and just let the clock tick on down. And as a result, they'll get a goal for it. Night Garden going to gift them one more for the road, give them a little bit of a closer contest, but the results are all the same here. Night Garden G is going to take their second victory on stream in a row, and I think this is their third victory on the day or something like that. What a way to come back into the ATLOpen.
Yeah, Night Garden really looking strong and against really good opponents as well. I mean, it's not that they have just been able to snooze through their first 3 competitions, their first 3 series. They've got through the quarterfinals now to advance into the semifinals. A 2-0 series victory there for them, where, again, this team that just looks so good now they, as I said, have not had easy matchups to get to this point, and their next one also not very easy.
Yeah, I don't think there are any easy matchups at this point. It doesn't matter really
No,
who
not
you
anymore.
are. You're going to be facing good teams. We're at the semifinals here, and Night Gardens now have a chance to try and upset what was the #1 team last week. Grupo Terricola waiting for them in the semifinals. But first, we got to let the other semifinal catch up as well. These guys have been speeding through their bracket. Meanwhile, we don't even have the quarterfinals finished on the other side here. Nexus Gaming and Rura from Missouri, which is a fantastic name. They've also got a picture of the Pope there, so I think that this team's got some memes coming through here. But they are waiting currently to see who the winner of that matchup will be to get into the semifinals. And then Northway is waiting the winner of Devo Trib and Fraud Kit. Oh my, too many names, too many teams, but two teams we do know about are Night Garden G's and 50K. We're going to look back at the replays here, brought to you by Microsoft ATL, and give you guys a quick little recap of everything that happened here. But one thing is for certain, Trevor, we're coming down to crunch time. The teams are getting better, the shots are getting more exquisite, and we're really coming down to it. These could be the final teams we see all day.
Yeah, I think that looking at what we saw out of this last matchup between 50K and Night Garden is probably about the last dosage of just pure, unadulterated chaos. Because game one was just that. It was a little unorthodox, but again, as you phrased it, Night Garden still walk away with the win because they ensured that they scored more goals than their opponents, and it didn't matter how they got the job done, as long as they get the job done. And from now on, I think that you're going to see a little more structure, a little more regularity for at least the approach on this. You're not going to see a fake kickoff every single kickoff. There's probably going to be a little more contest and competition for that, and to not give up those kickoff goals. But Night Garden G's, for what it's worth, and regardless of how they've done it to get to this point, well, they've got to this point. So you can't take away their unorthodox playstyle entirely.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, man, their playstyle may have been weird. They may have played a little bit, let's call it lackadaisically, but at the end of the day, they can do that and still dominate. They're a team that is very capable here. They've proven it multiple times. They've proven that no matter what, they can just kind of flip on a switch here, and hopefully I can flip off the switch that is the hiccups that are coming out of me right now, because my point here I'm trying to emphasize is that these guys really are a strong team, and no matter what way we try to, explain it to you guys and say it to you, you can just see from the goals that they were scoring in that last one. They go from messing around, having these backflip kickoffs, to immediately scoring double touches and beautiful aerials. There just is one of these things where when you've got a team that is that deadly, that quick, it's very hard for anyone to suppress them. So I wish luck to anybody who faces them. I wish luck to Grupo Terricola, but I also just wish luck to us, because if we end up having to watch that one, my poor heart, I don't know how much of a series like that it can take.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be an interesting series as they do progress and continue on through this bracket. But yeah, they did a great job to get through this point. The 2-0 along the board. I still have yet to see a third game in any of our series. Of course, we don't see a best of 5 until the end of today's qualifiers. So looking to see what is going to happen to move forward into this one. Like you said, the bottom half of the bracket, they're lulling behind a little bit. I was waiting on that one last team to face off against Northway, but I'm excited to see how the bottom half does eventually shake out.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how we end up having this one develop. And, well, in order to let those teams get a little bit of time to develop themselves, to get caught up with the upper half of the bracket, we're going to take a quick little break. When we return, though, we're going to have even more Rocket League action. The Atlanta Community Open Qualifier #2 for the month of October here. And, oh boy, it has delivered so far already, Caribou. Like we said, quick little break, but when we return, even more action. You are not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Atlanta Community Open for the month of October. This is qualifier number 2, and this on my side, I think it's this way. This way this time. Can you see my hand? Is going to be Confused Caribou. Myself, Bass from the past. We are back for yet another fantastic matchup here. And Caribou, I'm excited. This could be the matchup of the night. We've got Night Gardens G versus Grupo Terricola. Grupo Terricola, the previous winners of the community, or excuse me, not community open, of the qualifier number 1 we had last week. And Night Gardens, well, they've been around the Atlanta Community Open as long as the Atlanta Community Open has been the Community Open here. Returning favorites, but the favorites might just have to take a loss here because, oh my, they have got quite the test ahead of them.
Absolutely. The way that Night Guard G's have been playing so far in at least the 2 matches we've seen on air have just looked so good. They can just play whatever play style that they want, and they look so confident in what they are doing. And of course, the fact that they've made it here, Grupo Terricola already punched their ticket, as you said, with the qualifier championship last week. So Night Guard G's are already in. They're in the finals, regardless of the result of this. So that also kind of takes a little bit of that pressure off of their shoulders, where it does not matter what happens here. Either way, they still are going to be able to compete at the end of the month as well. So it's like even a little bit more freedom and liberation that Night Guard can really do whatever they want. They don't have to play with any extra burdened weight on them. And at that point, I think that's the lack of pressure might make them play even better.
We're going to have to find out. I have to imagine and agree with you that, yes, indeed, we are going to see that just utmost confidence. We're going to see a team that has got flow behind them. The 2-man passing plays we were seeing out of Night Gardens is something I don't think I've seen from pretty much any team there. They were hitting freestyle shots, but making them look like normal passing plays. I mean, that's just fantastic from them. But the unfortunate truth is that Grupo Terricola, I know you haven't been able to necessarily see them with your own 2 eyes yet, but get ready. They might just pop out of your skull here. They are a fantastic team. They really do the most here. They are very, very quick with the ball. And a big thing I do kind of want to bring up is that as much as, yes, Night Gardens do have overwhelming confidence and they are going to come into this one with a lot of momentum, if they take this a little bit too lackadaisically, they're just going to get punched in the mouth. That's kind of the reality. Everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the face. And, well, this could be that punch, that wake-up that Night Gardens aren't expecting. Grupo Terricola might just come out the gates firing and really take this team by surprise.
Yeah, there's absolutely every potential possibility that it doesn't matter what team you're facing off against, that you might just all of a sudden get cold clocked in the jaw like that. But I think from the history that we've seen with Grupo Terricola, not only from last week, but over months past in the Community Opens, like this is a team that just inherently should come in and recognize, okay, this is a good team. They make it very far in the bracket almost every single time they sign up. So this is something that at least you should come in and recognize. Maybe we shouldn't go for a fake kickoff every kickoff, and maybe we should just kind of have a better strategy and a better idea going into this one, because they have to play to the 9s. They have to have everything on par and on point if they want to at least extend it to 3 games, if not advance themselves into the finals here today.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that they really got to make sure to focus up for every single one of these games. Because, again, this is now going to be, I think, our 4th match that we have streamed so far here. It's still best of 3s, and it's still one of these things where we have yet to see a series go to that game 3. It really does feel like when a team takes that first game, it's not only putting themselves on the right foot forward, but it's setting the tone for the series, because you just make it aware to the other team that, hey, it's win or go home now. And certain teams can live up to that expectation. Certain teams can understand that pressure, and it actually elevates them. It brings them to a point where they're even better because they have that added pressure. But for other teams, it kind of just boxes them into a corner, and all of a sudden they don't know what to do. So I'm interested if either one of those teams is going to be like that here today. I've got faith that the both of these guys have enough experience that we're going to see a good back and forth game here. A lot easier said than done, though. Rebounding from that first loss is rather difficult, and I genuinely have no idea who is taking that first loss in this series.
And I think that they're both going to see a loss. I don't know what the order is going to be and as to who takes this, but I do think we do get a full 3 games out of this series. I'm excited as we get into the kickoff of Grupo Terricola facing off against the Night Garden G's here in our first semifinal match, best of 3 underway. And flip a coin between this one. I feel like Grupo probably would be favored in this match, but you never know.
You never really know. Oh my word, but when they're already hitting shots like that, I think they have just done one thing. They came out the gates firing. Night Garden might not have been expecting that, but since they left the door open, they might as well walk through. Night Garden G's taking the first goal of this game.
Yeah, just a little bit of a mistouch there at midfield, and then Kemi going to take advantage of that one with the boost, is going to put the nose on, put the momentum behind it to get that first go-ahead goal 20 seconds into this one. And I think that's just a really shining example of how the give and take of this series is going to go. You're going to see a phenomenal play on one side that just misses by a single hair's breadth of the framework, and then it very quickly could go all the way the other way.
Ooh, speaking of going all the way there, Grupo Terricola almost able to slot in their first goal of this game, but no such luck. And 45 seconds into this one, I can already tell, though, this might just be the game of the day here. We have a great back and forth. Both teams just throwing everything out on the pitch, and Storm throwing their all into that one. Gonna be able to prevent that goal for now, and then Rubik's does that. All right, well, good to see that we at least have both teams in a playful mood here. It's not just Night Gardens who might be messing around a little bit.
It just makes it even that much more entertaining for what we would expect to be a great series to begin with. See, Storm's going to take this one coast to coast, but Rubik's does get a deflection off to the corner. Another minute's gone by without a goal scored. Opportunities on both fronts, but good infield challenges around this one. That one's going to go long, and that's going to be enough to get a second goal scored for the Night Garden G's. 2-0 lead here, a minute and a half in.
Oh my word, they're making Grupo Terricola look like nothing right now. They recognize quickly this is a capable team and then went, okay, cool, you're capable. We've got strategies to counter that, and boy, have they ever. Taking shots out from midfield here, recognizing that Grupo Terricola is an offensive team, so when they leave gaps in the back end, they will punish quickly, and 90 seconds into this one, they've done it twice. Can they do it a third time? No, it actually might be going the other way. Stizzy with a 1v1 play dismantles the defense out from midfield and will slot in their second goal, or excuse me, first.
The initial demo right there just left it up to Stizzy. All you have to do is when you're one-on-one at that point, gets the flip up over the top, it gets the redirect to come back the other way, gets it off the upright as well. Just almost could have gone the other way, but is going to be able to get their first goal. So drawn back to a single goal deficit here. And a lot of physicality that has already showed up here in this game. A great little 1-2 off the wall is going to be saved by Kemi. So they do not get their equalizer yet, but they are knocking on this door.
They're coming very close, and with an open net, I have to imagine they're going to take this one. Indeed, they do. Rubik's cuts it a little bit close here, but we're starting to see something for both teams here. They are very focused on offense and are not necessarily Loctite on defense. It might be due to the fact that neither one of these teams has really had anyone press them on defense all day. So now that they have a team that can do that, it's time to see what they're made of here, Caribou.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be an interesting sort of development in this series as to whose defense really does step up, because that might be the difference maker in this series. And like I said, I wholeheartedly expect both of these teams to take an L in this best of 3 where it comes down to that third and final game. But we've seen signs of life from the offenses on both sides, and they both have looked really good in what they've accomplished on the offensive front so far. And we're only halfway through this game. We're tied 2-2. But Stizzy and Rubik's just trying to find an answer to go the other way. But the challenges at midfield from both of these teams are just so good to try to put something together the other way.
And that's a lot of the reason we aren't necessarily seeing as many on-the-line saves. They've decided that if there is going to be defense in this game, it's going to be out at midfield, all or nothing. You either make the stop there or you don't make the stop at all. And that's another great example of that one as Rubik's dives in just past the final third of the field. Won't even allow the shot to start up here. So I'm liking this. We really are getting a tense back and forth. It does seem like for the first half of this game, both teams were kind of just feeling each other out, figuring out what type of gameplay they were going to have. And well, while Night Gardens took advantage of that for the first minute, Grupo Terricola have had 2 unanswered goals in a row. It's starting to feel like we might get a golden goal scenario, considering how far and few they have become since those first couple of minutes. Unless you are able to find yourself some miraculous spurt of offense, it's been hard-fought goals every time, and we may only see one more to decide this game.
Another thing that's sort of dwindled in the last couple of minutes is the lack of physicality, the lack of demos and bumps off that. Kimmy tried to go for a bump right there just to try to get the ball in for free. Stizzy with the style points on the backflip is going to be able to pass it off to Rubik's, but Rubik's going to send it right back, and that was almost a beautiful highlight from Stizzy and Rubik's to pass off. Either way, a phenomenal effort there by Grupo Terricola.
Incredible play all around. And I gotta commend Kemi, I think it was, who dove for that one. Recognized that they faked it out. When they initially went up for that ball, you would think they're gonna try and pop that to the corner and then develop a play, but no. Goes for the backflip, flick, and gets it to the center. So that dive ahead of time is starting to show. Night Gardens are paying attention to their defense. They are recognizing how they gotta play this one. Because against a team like Grupo Terricola, they're gonna make some clever shots. That clever shot, though, they just took has led them to the lead here. With only about a minute remaining, it could be the lead that they keep for the game, but not if Night Garden keep on pressing. That shot going to be a little bit off target, but they're definitely starting to get some offense together, but apparently they're not going to get some defense. Both players back for this one, but neither one able to make the save.
Yeah, Kemi just looked like caught chasing there on the other side of the field, trying to get a demo potentially onto Rubik's and then try to take advantage of that situation from there. Unfortunately, Rubik's hits the boost at the perfect time to avoid the demo, gets a chance to go the other way, and gets that insurance goal. 45 seconds to play, a demo off the kickoff now. Night Garden G's caught scrambling in this one. It's gone from 2 unanswered to 4 unanswered for Grupo Terricola, who have taken complete control of this game.
Yeah, they really have taken full control over this one, and it's 4 uncontested goals in a row for a reason here. Okay, well, I'm going to eat my words all of a sudden, but I was going to say, Grupo Terricola just seem to have an idea of how they want to play against this team. They're just kind of waiting on the back end, waiting for those opportunities, then as soon as they get a good counterattack, they can run with it, which is why you saw one of their players out at midfield. Now, the issue with that type of strategy is it really does leave you exposed on defense here. So, Night Garden, you got to take advantage of that. If the defense isn't necessarily locked tight at this point, you got to keep pressing until you find yourselves another goal. They could find it already! Ooh. They will indeed! Storms with a dunk from the air, and just like that, we're all tied up yet again.
Got it right back. You saw Kemi lurking at midfield, looking for the weak side attack, and the pass opportunity was there, but Storm just recognized the defender out of position is enough that you can get the double touch, get the dunk, and get the equalizing goal, and they are right back in this one, and I think that this is almost what we expected, this insane back-and-forth play between 2 elite teams.
That's exactly what we were hoping for here. We really were hoping for a good contest. Both teams throwing everything that they've got at one another. But this could be an easy goal. No, Stizzy not quite able to get past the last defender in Kemi, and instead, this one will stay up. There is a chance that we could have a 0-second goal. It could be in favor of Night Gardens, but only if they had read that. Kemi tried to play that one safe, rotated out to midfield, and honestly, probably the better decision. Just unfortunate. Had they dove on that one, played a little bit more aggressive, they would have had the end of the game. Instead, they might have just given the end of the game to the other team, but not if it's off the post and out. We head into this overtime sponsored by HyperX, and boy, HyperX, you guys are getting a hell of a game on your hands.
Certainly brought the hype to this one as they had the opportunity there to do it, and Stizzy's just going to take this one. No one's going to challenge at that point. Got to wonder what the boost numbers are looking like on the other side. Kemi just gets bumped out of that one, could not recover in time. Storm's driving the wrong way, couldn't get off the wall, so that's going to be the difference maker to give Grupo Terricola the 5-4 overtime victory in game number 1, and that was everything and more we could have ever asked for in our first match of the semifinals.
100%. That delivered 1,000 times over there. A bit of an unfortunate ending, obviously. I don't think that's exactly what we were hoping for, what they were hoping for to Night Garden G's there, but you can understand why it happened in the first place. Storm on the backboard, awkward position, gets hooked on the lip of the goal a little bit, and then all of a sudden, his teammate can't really recover. Kemi tries their best, but that's just kind of one of those things where fortunate scenario for Grupo Terricola, and as we look back upon this game, you can kind of notice a trend with a lot of these goals. It wasn't ever one of these things where someone was able to just kind of muster it past the defense. It was if there is a gap, they will score. That just kind of goes to show you, these teams play perfectly for so long. You make a single mistake, and they will punish.
Just the slightest of errors is what opened the door on both sides. We saw a great start here from Storms and Kemi. They opened up with that 2-0 lead a minute and a half in. They looked so confident in control of this one. All of a sudden, the physicality kicked in, and the answers came back the other way, where it wasn't 1, it wasn't 2, it wasn't 3. It was 4 unanswered goals from the other side of Grupo Terricola, who just, at that point, you thought, okay, this duo right now, they're unstoppable. There's nothing they can do. But then you get to the final 60 seconds, and Night Guard and G's are like, wait a minute, we are still in this game, and now it's 4-4.
I love this. This is everything we were hoping for. We want this back and forth, and realistically, we want a game number 3. Now, the interesting thing about going to game number 3 here, though, is that if we do get there, I'm honestly putting my, I'd actually favor the team that just lost in Night Guard and G's, because then you have all this momentum on the planet here. Your opponent's going to get 2 in a row, but maybe you can do exactly that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed we continue with this back and forth scoring that we've seen here. We've gotten through, 3 or 4 minutes of talking at this point, and we're still counting back the goals of that game. 9 total goals through the 2 teams there. I mean, listen, if we do end up going out in 2 games, I just hope it's as much of a banger as that first one, because oh my word, was that a tense one.
Yeah, and going into overtime, there was something like 19 or 20 shots combined between the 2 of them. So this was a lot of offense, as you touched on. The defense was just a little bit of a question mark, a little wonder if they are going to step up and really accentuate themselves on that front. And to a point, we started to see a little bit of that, but the minor mistakes is what really made the offenses capable of putting points on the board. So the fact that you see 19, 20 shots at the end of regulation, you add on 2, 3 more at the end. I think Grupo Terricola ended with 13 to their total. This is a lot of offense that you have to deal with on both sides.
Yeah, that's a big thing. It really is going to be who steps up on defense first. We mentioned that going into this one, but when you have 2 offensively based teams, it's about who's able to withstand that pressure and turn it into better goals. And I mean, that's something we've seen a couple of times here and there, but realistically, it's not something we've seen consistently enough. I feel like for a team like Night Garden, who do have good defensive stands and are so quick with the ball, they should be getting a lot more counterattacking opportunities in comparison to what we saw in that game. So I'm interested. I really do think that the 3rd game here of this series is a possibility. I think it's very likely, but it's up to Night Gardens to try and get there. They need to step up here in game number 2. If they do not do that, well, obviously, it's the end of the series as the group of Terricola is up by 1, but it also puts out a big statement here. Hey, you guys might have been the returning players. You might have been the returning favorites, but when we see you at the end of the month, because at this point, Night Garden have guaranteed themselves at minimum 3rd place for this, considering Grupo Terricola have already qualified. It kind of just puts out a statement. Hey, you might be good. End of the month, we're coming back, and we're going to get another win on you.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do, not only here in game number 2 in this series of the semifinals, but when they do come back around, because this is what we talk about going into these top 8s and these teams that qualify for those finals, is that, like, yeah, understand you got to beat these teams now, because you will see them again at the end of the month. And already underway for game number 2, Grupo Terricola took the first one in overtime fashion. See if we're going to do it again. Night Guard and Cheese, though, as we saw, got the first 2 goals of the last game. See if they're able to take the lead and hold on to it this time around.
It's going to be a lot easier said than done, though. Like we said, they're a team that are going to have to battle through the fire in flames of Grupo Terricola here. And I gotta say, this is not the start I was expecting. Night Garden's playing very patiently on the back end here. It could come back to bite them, though, because they are giving a lot of space to their opponents. But luckily enough, they can stand tall for now. 40 seconds into this one, a close call, to put it simply. But Night Garden G's will hold on. Oh, and find a goal.
But the challenge at Kemi, okay, at midfield, they held on long enough where they get that midfield challenge, and that's what we talked about the last game. Not a lot of commitment there on the defensive stance. A lot of the challenges came from midfield, where it was all or nothing. Kemi takes it all right there to get the first goal on the board 45 seconds in.
I like that. That's a lot better of a game plan from everyone on Night Garden here. They're playing very patiently. They're just kind of allowing Grupo Terricola to play into their hand, and Grupo Terricola don't really seem to have much of an answer here. For a team that's all go, 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 what happens when you get a little bit of a yellow light that doesn't tell you stop, doesn't tell you go, just kind of says pause for a second? They apparently don't know what to do with that. Minute into this one, and Night Garden G's have held on to their lead and might actually find a second goal because of this one off the backboard, but no such luck. Kemi looking for the double touch, but with 0 boost in the tank, we'll have to go back to the drawing board. But Night Garden G's looking very threatening right now.
Little flip up over the top to Stizzy, see if they can get that one on target, but they don't. And you talk about what we're looking at here. The demo in the front is going to open that door. That's a full green light for the Night Garden G's, as they are going to take another goal on. Great demo. Storm's just paving the way here for Kemi to get another goal. That's 2 for Kemi now, 2 for the Night Garden G's.
This is just kind of filthy right now. Night Garden have figured out their strategy, and they are executing very well. It's a lot different than the 2-goal lead they took in the last game as well, because last game they got the 2-goal lead, and it kind of just looked like it was because of the fact that Grupo Terricola weren't really prepared for a team that was going to be that quick on offense. This time, they get the 2 goals. They're hard fought. It took them 2 minutes to get here, and each one of them was due to their successful strategy. Oh boy, but they're still going to have to try and limit the offense from Grupo Terricola, because within the blink of an eye, they are right back into this one.
Stizzy just hit that yellow light and waited that one out while the defender went to challenge. And we've seen those midfield challenges, and it's that all or nothing. Well, they go for it all. They miss on that one. A little flip over the top and just put the shot on target. They're going to get one back, so they close the gap one more time. I feel like I've seen this episode before. There should be 3 more goals to the Grupo Terricola side if we're following the script. If not, Night Guard and G's might look to just try to maintain this control, because the same at this point, you got to wonder what's going on in the back of their minds if they recognize that we've been here and we a little less comfortable with that lone goal lead.
Oh my word, and this is not making me comfortable at all. I can 100% agree with you on that one. Both teams going back and forth, and that lead is gone within a moment's notice. Stizzy given enough time here to raise a kid and send them to college at this point. Gets the bump from the early setup and beautifully equalizes.
The great denial there on the goal line stand as well. Kimmy was in position to circle back around, but as you said, Stizzy got the touch on at that point, was able to just let the ball take its course to get and challenge Kimmy off of any chance of a goal save right there. So we do get that equalizer at the halfway point. A little slower this time around. Rubik's with the shot on. He's going to be denied this time around. Good push to the side. We'll see if Night Guard and G's can find a counter to go the other way, but just send that ball long. And in the waiting arms of Rubik's, very dangerous here. And the demo, but Storm's going to hold on to this one.
I gotta say, this is a little bit of a surprising one for me, as the midfield presence is really not necessarily as much of a battle as it is a one-sided fight here, as Grupo Terricola just shut them down every time. But third goal to Grupo Terricola. I'll go back to my point in a moment, because this is just utter dominance right now from the team in orange.
Yeah, the initial demo on the side, Kimmy did a phenomenal job at that 1v1, not to overcommit to one side or the other, made the initial save, but at that point, you have to wait for the teammate to respawn. Too little, too late, could not get in position in time to give up that third go-ahead goal now. So Grupo Terricola, they're still following the script. They got 3 unanswered now, and they're looking pretty good to find their 4th.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a...
Oh, there it is.
Oh, my word. I was going to say, a difficult comeback for Night Garden if they want to stay in this one. Oh boy, that's going to be a really difficult comeback when Rubik's is feeling it like this. What an angle out of the corner here. And Caribou, there's 100 seconds left on the clock. We've seen Night Garden score 2 goals in less than like 30 seconds. It's possible, but at this point, Grupo Terricola kind of just putting on the same exact show as they did in game number 1.
Yeah, they've certainly built the momentum, and they got to be riding this wave of confidence. A bump on the front side, trying to open this up, but Rubik's is able to fight off of it and be able to save that shot, not letting them get the 3rd goal. But we know just how fast either one of these teams realistically can strike, and the fact that you have this opportunity, Storms with a shot on, great save from Stacey coming off the wall to make sure that they don't get that 3rd one just yet. They're going to have to earn those last 2 goals if they want it like they did in the first 2 in this game, because right now, Grupo Terricola is not giving them anything.
Yeah, at this point, it's one of these things where the real difference in this game is not necessarily that the offense is looking a little bit more methodical. It's that the defense has stepped up here. I'm not going to call the offense methodical anymore after that play. That was a little bit of an unfortunate one. And, well, I'm not going to lie. It's just opened the door for Night Garden to keep this series alive. Oh, boy, that might come back to bite them, Caribou.
It just might. As you said, they left that door wide open on the other side. There just was a hard commit on the potential effort to get a goal scored there. Instead, just left the back door wide open, and Kemi's going to be able to take that one real easy off the wall. And 40 seconds plays a lot of time here, but that is a great pinch with the ground. Rubik's going to get another one back. A 5-3 scoreline now. Insurance has been restored.
I don't even want to say anything right now, because I want to say that this game is now going to go to Grupo Terricola, but I also want to say that Night Gardens have got a chance here, because at this point, I have no idea how this is going to end. 40 seconds left, a 2-goal deficit, and it's been about as volatile as ever. No idea who's going to take this one, but there is still a chance technically for Night Garden to get into this. They just need to try and find that initial goal to give them that spark. They could find it here. Good shot. It's going to be off target, but it's a rebound. But Kemi doesn't go for it. Plays a little bit too patiently. And with less than 30 seconds left, that is not the time to play patiently because you've just secured yourselves the loss. Kemi's already out of here, recognizes how bad of a mistake that was, and will say, GG's, that's it.
That was so close to it, though. I mean, they were right there with the opportunity to really step up to take that shot. I think Kemi probably just expected the defender to actually make contact, to get the deflection. Instead, it just bounces off the wall. It left it wide open for Kemi, who was already on the retreat to go get the boost to try to reset for another attack. And that was a point where, like you were saying, I did not want to count Night Guard and G's out of that. When they were only down 2 goals with 35 seconds to play, I wanted to say until it's a 3-goal lead, I'm not going to say that this game is over. They got the 3-goal lead, 16 seconds to play, so that was going to be enough of a deciding factor. The final nail in the coffin that sends Grupo Terricola back to the championship game for another qualifier. That means some more money in their pocket, and they're not going to complain about that at all.
No, not at all. And Grupo Terricola really showing why they're going to be one of the highest seeds going into the end of the month here. The thing is that they're going to have to probably fight through that team again if they want to try and win it at the end of the month, because Night Guard and G's have still qualified themselves for the finals here for the Atlanta Community Open. Because of the fact that Grupo Terricola had already qualified, it's just top 3 for this week, and making semifinals at minimum, considering that 2 teams which have already qualified are in the top 4, means you're going to make it. So Grupo Terricola taking a pretty dominant win here. And as we look back upon these replays brought to you by Microsoft ATL, we're going to see exactly how they did so. Because again, that is their second comeback victory in a row there. They were down 2-0 in both of those games.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the offense just flipped the switch, turned it on, went all the way. They got 4 unanswered in the first game and another 4 in the second one. They were just right there, ready to strike whenever they wanted to. They were able to find the opportunities they needed. They played so patiently in that second game to be able to find those chances that they needed to get the shots on. Stizzy and Rubix had looked so good in that series against such a great team that has played so well today in the Night Guard and G's. And I mean, you got to give credit to Kimmy and Storms for what they were able to do to perform to this point and take both of those games down to the wire. It's just a heartbreaker that the overtime did not go the way that they wanted, did not go the way they expected. They left the door open. You see Stizzy here off the bounce. Is going to take that one, and the defense could not challenge in front. Grupo Terricola, again, not surprisingly, looks like a team to beat.
Yeah, they look like the top dogs at this point. They look like if you want to try and take a win in any of these qualifiers, they're who you are going to have to beat here. And I'm interested. Again, I really do want to see what happens once we get to this third qualifier, because it feels like it's just kind of having this expectation of the players ramp further up. And like I said, last week, it was NA/RLCS. Teams were getting prepared, ready for the qualifiers. This week, no qualifiers there except for Europe, who has some qualifiers. So maybe next week we get some of those European players we've been missing out on. Or maybe we see a return from Luis P. Maybe we see a return from Dead Monster. Who knows what we see? All I can tell you is one thing. We are going to see Grupo Terricola in the grand finals of this qualifier this week. They're going to secure themselves a little bit more money, whether it's $15 or $125. They are guaranteed no matter what. This has been an amazing one, though. Trevor, we're not even close to the end of this day, and already my heart is about to pump out of my chest.
Yeah, I cannot ask for anything more from what these teams have done so far to this point. On the other side, we talk about great teams that are facing off. Nexus Gaming and Northway in the other semifinal matchup is going to be a absolute banger. Nexus Gaming with Misty and Gamma coming back one more time to get themselves here. And again, because of the fact Northway already is qualified for the grand finals at the end of October, that means NXG is also going to be there at the end of the month. So again, just another one of those matches that's like, okay, if you want to get an idea of how you're going to fare in a couple weeks' time, you have to show up and take notes as to how this series goes.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really telling one for a multitude of reasons, like you said. At minimum, it's just basically guaranteeing who we're going to see at the end of the month here. Both of these teams are going to make it. At this point, the semifinals for this qualifier alone makes up half of the end of the month here. So it's one of these things where you really got to just take notes, recognize what teams are here, and understand where you're going to be able to take the advantage. Because again, this week, obviously, Grupo Terricola take the win. I can guarantee you, next time Night Guard and G's face them, if they do face them at the end of the month, it's going to be a lot closer of a contest. That team did not back down whatsoever, and when they did find successful strategies, they executed well. So that's kind of what we have to see here today. Northway are a team we've seen before. They've played well before. They are a consistently good team. But if Nexus Gaming wants to try and take this one, it's up to them to find those successful strategies and execute upon them. I've got faith they can do so, but Caribou, this is going to be an interesting best of 3, to put it simply.
Yeah, and Nexus Gaming, every once in a while, they just surprise with all of a sudden, they play like I can't take anything away. Nexus Gaming has looked really good. Misty and Gamma are 2 really solid players, but when they come up against some of those the heavy hitters, the heavyweight champions that we have here that have filtered through the community open, they just seem to fall a step or 2 short 65 to 75% of the time. But then that other little bit, they just really come out and surprise. And there's always that chance that NXG really could step up here against Northway. I mean, Northway, we know what Pablo and Aqua can do. They're good. They're real good. But does NXG have enough in it for them to take a series? 3 games, maybe, but I still have to give favor to Pablo and Aqua.
Yeah, I'd probably end up giving favor to them as well. It really does feel like Northway have the lead right now, just in multiple ways than one. They have momentum coming in from last week. They've taken down good competition already here today and shown that they can stand up against the test of time. And Nexus Gaming, as much as they do look like a strong team, and we know they are a strong team, this is the best competition they're going to face all day. There's no 2 ways about it. Northway are a very strong team. They are a very capable team. And if they are not prepared for this, it's going to be a rather difficult fight. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope we get another series that ends up being a good back and forth here because, again, I just want to see Game 3, man. I just want to see it before we get to the finals because if we get to Game 3 in a best of 5, that does not count. A sweep is not the same thing.
I think similar to the perspective of the other semifinal matchup, these 2 teams have played with each other a lot. I mean, these duos have so much experience and so much synergy together. Misty and Gamma have been responsible for some of the best passing plays that we've seen. So we get into game number 1. I am excited to see what that synergy is going to show in this first matchup here on this side of the semifinal bracket. But already the offensive pressure from Northway is trying to be imposed upon Nexus Gaming.
They're trying to keep that pressure up here. They're trying to put an emphasis at the start of this game, and you can understand why. If you're able to make your mark within the first minute of the game, it can really set the tone. And I think Northway are trying to do that right now. Pablo with a ripper on target, but Misty with an easy save. Aqua going to be there for the follow-up. Bounces this one off the backboard, and Pablo has got a shot on target. It was a slow burn, but it was a methodical one. Northway playing it patient and finding the first goal.
Yeah, just a little bit of disruption there onto Misty, and Pablo's able to get in the air with the pre-jump and just read that one, get to the ball before both of the defenders. And there was, like I said, enough disruption on Misty that could not quite recover in time, could not get up in time to let Pablo make that pre-jump, make that commitment to get that shot on and get that first goal.
My word, and we've already got a series on our hand here, Caribou. This is going to be a fun one, but unfortunately for Nexus Gaming, it's going to be one they're going to probably have to play from behind here. Northway showing that they are not missing a beat out the gate, and that's on defense and offense both. They find their first goal and also find a phenomenal save there on the line, but it shouldn't be the end of the offense overall. Misty on the wall should have a follow-up. No, instead, she just gives time and space to Pablo, who's going to dribble it over the whole defense, but can't get past Misty and the bar on the line. Getting a little bit nervous here. Northway, a very capable team. If you start giving them space to develop plays like that, they will find the back of the net. Another fantastic save here, and a third one as well. But Nexus Gaming coming scarily close to conceding their second. How on earth have they not? How many shots was that in a row there, Caribou?
That's like 4 or 5 shots in a row. They started with such a great save to deny that passing play, and I cannot believe that ball has not crossed the line yet. Finally, with the demo and the rotation, they finally get the ball into the back of the net. It took them a solid 45 seconds of possession, knocking on the door, got shot after shot after shot. Pablo's already got 6 shots. We're a minute and 40 seconds into the game. Pablo has 6 shots already. Sometimes you don't even see a team put 6 shots on the board in the whole duration of 5 minutes. So Nexus Gaming's defense has done a phenomenal job to stop that many shots, but they cannot let that keep happening.
I mean, you can't let it happen, but if you're able to equalize like this, oh boy, you might just be able to. What a shot from Gamma to sneak this one past the defense here. I do agree with you, though. The big thing is that Northway are getting a lot of free time on offense, and if you give a team free time on offense, eventually they're going to score. It is almost inevitable. But the good thing is that Nexus Gaming still do seem to be in this series here, so Trevor, I'm not going to count them out yet. Oh boy, but if Pablo scores this, I might just have to. One good solo play for another. Pablo showing them how it's done, and back to a 2-goal lead for Northway.
Pablo just hit the brakes. They're going to fly right by. And that's exactly what happened. Got the first defender up on the wall, just didn't know which direction to go, and was able to then maneuver into position. And like you said, great solo play there from Pablo to give the insurance back. And, I mean, you got to give credit to both of these teams for what they've been capable of, but you got to see that Northway's offense is they're just so good. And NXG has to be able to find a way to get them out of that comfort position. They cannot let that happen. They have to be able to find better angles where they take possession and find a passing play. Missy here with the solo play is going to be denied by Pablo in front of the net, but Gamma gets a nose on the pre-jump, looking for a bounce off the wall. Is going to get enough of a redirect. A slow little touch over the top, but that's enough because it's going to the back of the net.
Look at this flip reset. Sets it up so incredibly early and just waits for Pablo to eventually jump. And once they do, it's a bit too late there. Heck of a way for Nexus to get themselves back into this game, and now that's 2 uncontested goals in a row. We're starting to see a trend here. One team scores, gets themselves some offense, and the next team has their spurt of offense here, and then we just kind of go back and forth. Maybe Nexus will be able to equalize this one, because with half the game remaining, they would love to try and get themselves back into this in any way possible. Unfortunately, though, they'll have to do it from their own end. Sent the other way, and Misty will have to air dribble through the middle here. Aqua immediately up for this one and will not give them uncontested airspace. Maybe they should have, because now it's forced Pablo into an awkward position in the corner. 100 boost to his name, but a defense that is not going to hold all too tight. Easy challenge from Misty, and then a follow-up from Aqua here. I gotta say, Northway are desperate to get out of their half. They're not doing a bad job at holding on defense, but I do worry if they continue to play this aggressively out of midfield, they're going to start leaving some gaps in their defense.
And that's just a matter of when are you going to be able to see the other team take advantage of that one. The demo at midfield, though, is going to ensure Aqua gets that one coast to coast to get the 4th goal in insurance back one more time. Good little boost over the top to keep it out of the reach there of Gamma. And then on top of that, just getting the demo just to ensure that there's no chance the defense gets back in time. So a 4-2 scoreline now. Minute 43 to play as clock ticks down in this best of 3. And it's just, again, similar to the last semifinals, has been really good back and forth, but now you just start to see one team start to slightly edge out the other.
That's the big thing here, is that there's always been that little bit of an edge between the two teams, and that's what separated teams here today, is that as close as they may be, at the end of the day, there can't only be one victor, and it's looking like we might just have a rematch of last week's finals if we keep going the way that it stands right now. Northway put in their 5th with 90 seconds remaining. Nexus have a chance. They still do have a chance, but the unfortunate truth is that aside from those 2 offensive spurts that we saw, they haven't really had much other opportunity. And they're also getting bullied on defense. Aqua here just completely body blocking the second defender. Oh my, I feel bad for Gamma on this one.
Just a great touch off that kickoff. Got even a deflection onto Misty there as well, but then at that point, just essentially put it in park in front of Gamma to give no chance at all that slow roller is going to cross that line. A 6-2 score line, and they're just going to continue to try to rack it up, and for good reason. You can understand and expect that this squad is absolutely feeling themselves right now. Coming up on a minute to play, and Northway, they look like they have something to say about what the other team on the other side of the bracket did, and might be on track to come back with some vengeance.
They'd love to get a little bit of a revenge story here in the second qualifier, because at that point what they really do is, again, all these teams have qualified for the final game at the end of the month here, and as Northway scored themselves a 7th goal, they're kind of just trying to put out a statement here. They're making sure that everybody else in this bracket who is inevitably going to have to face them if they want the win at the end of the month, they want them to know, hey, this is what we're coming to the table with. This is how we're going to play. If you guys don't have an answer, well, too bad for you. Northway 7-2 here in their first game of this best of 3 semifinal. I really do have to wonder if they're going to show something against Grupo Terricola, though, that we just haven't seen, because as good as this does look, Grupo will probably be a team that is prepared for this type of offense.
Yeah, wholeheartedly can expect that. Great save coming from midfield by Pablo to ensure that Gamma does not get that one. Another nose on. That one eventually will cross the line. So Gamma and Nexus Gaming going to get one back here in the closing seconds of game number 1. But like you said, Group of Terracola probably have full expectation and understanding of what Northway want to do. They've seen it before, but you look at that scoreboard. I mean, they got 15 shots on the board in this game. And as I said, in the first minute and a half, Pablo had 6 shots by himself. NXG's got 7 shots total. And we're at the end of the game. Make it 8 now, as Missy's going to get another one. But that amount of offense that Northway is providing in this game is a problem NXG has to solve. And like you said, a statement that Northway is making, not only in this series, not only for their next series potential, but in the rest of the series that they will play and all the other teams still watching.
Yeah, that's the big thing here is that they really have come into this one with a plan. They've executed upon that plan perfectly. And unfortunately for Nexus, they just gonna have to try and slow them down and alter and just kind of get in the way of that plan. Huge difference right now between the two teams. It really does seem like Northway are playing this methodically, and Nexus are just trying to catch on up here. I've got faith that Nexus can take this to a game 3. It does look like they're rather close here. If they can slow down the scoring from their opponents, they've got a chance. But again, that's a lot easier said than done against a team like Northway.
Yeah.
When you've got that much mechanical prowess as well as just a clean rotation overall, you're going to find that offensive pressure. It's almost inevitable. So it's up to Nexus. As we look back upon the replays here powered by Microsoft ATL, we're going to be able to see exactly where they did leave those gaps. There isn't a lot of criticism we can make about it, though. Nexus did play this one well. The unfortunate truth is just their opponents played it better. Yeah,
better is ridiculously I think, shorthanded way of putting it, because Pablo and Aqua just kind of made this a clinical offensive showcase as to what they are capable of. And, you know, like I said, Pablo had, at the end of the game, 9 shots on, which is more than what Nexus Gaming had. So the fact that they just had so much offensive presence, I mean, you look at the heat map, it's probably 80% on that side of the field, and, you know, what they did. But also kind of got to give credit because, yeah, XG gave up a lot of shots, but for a while there, they didn't give up a lot of goals. So they had a really solid stand on the defensive front. But like you said, eventually put enough shots on, eventually they're going to score. And that is, I think, just the simplest solution for NXG to find is, okay, how do we take those shots away? Let's take those opportunities away and find something to go in the other direction. Is it a midfield challenge? Is it our own, you know, passing plays just to keep playing keep away from the other team? Like, how do they end up fixing that problem?
I think part of it is also having longer stands on offense for them. You look back upon a lot of the goals that we did see from Nexus Gaming there, and it was due to the fact that they would find themselves these really spectacular shots out of nowhere. And while that's great, it's a really solid strategy if you can hit those solid shots. You know, an easier way to do so, what your opponents did. Northway were just putting shot after shot after shot after shot, breaking down the defense slowly and eventually finding themselves some pressure. And one way to try and counter that is to then do the same thing on the other end. Make it so that they feel uncomfortable so they cannot transition into an easy offense. It's up to Nexus to do that, though. We're here in game number 2 of this best of 3. It is win or go home for Nexus Gaming. If they don't pull this one off, I mean, obviously it's going to be the end of their night, but it's also going to be a bit of a heartbreaker. They fought so incredibly hard to get here, and against a team like Northway, who they were expecting at the end, but were probably hoping to try and take a win against, it's got to be hard, especially considering that they've already had an open net here in Game 2, and we're not able to sink it into the back of the net.
Yeah, and that's just one of those heartbreakers in the situation. Like, you put yourself in a position to get a goal, to get something going here in Game 2, build a little bit of confidence, or at least put a foundation down for it, but instead you go wide left, and now Aqua trying to take this one on a slow possession, go to the other way. And I think that this is a way that we'll see Northway really do a good job in this game, is not only get their shots on, because we know that they're capable of that, but got to burn the clock out of this one, because at this point, not only are you just draining the clock, but you're also draining any confidence and faith from the Nexus Gaming squad, because the less time on that clock, and the more goals that you have to your name, it's just more desperate NXG is going to have.
It kind of looks like they're playing exactly like that. Desperate, pretty much the perfect word. They are just trying to find themselves touches and keep this one away from Northway. They want to just dispossess them and not allow them any sort of momentum.
All right.
And, well, it's worked out. The demo, I thought, was going to be a little bit too early there, but they're quick enough on the counterattack, and Nexus Gaming will have the first win, or excuse me, the first goal of this game.
Yeah, just half a second later, and it would have been too late. Pablo would have been able to get that respawn. They would have been able to get in front of that to make that save. But like you said, first goal up, minute has gone by in this one. And NXG, yeah, for what it's worth, maybe the desperation is the answer for them, is just because it's that little extra bit of, call it false confidence, if you will, that's gotten them in the position. But that shot is going to go on and go in as the demo at midfield. That's not the first time we've seen Northway do that to Nexus Gaming. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, really, it's an effective strategy for a reason there, and you can see exactly where the strategy really took place. Gamma, desperate to get back there, just scrambles on the way back, and you can see Northway immediately rip off a shot because of it. That's a huge thing about Northway, is that they really are such a hard team to take down because they know when to shoot and they know how to take advantage of this offensive pressure. If you want to make adaptations against them, that's fine, probably the better strategy. The unfortunate truth is they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to recognize the adaptations you are making. They're going to recognize those changes and start to poke and prod at the little holes that develop. So this is going to be a difficult one. If Nexus Gaming want to take this win, they really have got to play almost perfectly and continue to match those adaptations because, oh my word, Northway are not backing down in the slightest. What a save from Pablo.
Great save right there. Unfortunately, Gamma's touch just got a little bit away from him as they were trying to make the move down the field. And it was a great initial save from Misty on the other side, playing so patiently. Another save going credited to Misty here at this one. Possession going to midfield. Aqua's got no boost to work with here, so this is just an outright solo play that will be deflected off to the side. Misty with full boost is trying to play this one a little slower. Goes over the top of Pablo, trying to find an angle down. Aqua's going to come in, push it to the side, and keep possession away from Gamma. Now with that full commit, looking for the reset to come back the other way, and they do get back in time. We have surpassed the halfway point in game number 2. Deadlocked at a goal apiece, and Misty with another save on the board. And as similar to Northway, is not given an inch to NXG. NXG doing the same thing the other way.
Both teams going back and forth here. And at
Good
this
challenge.
point, it's starting to look kind of likely that Nexus Gaming could actually take this one here. I have a lot of faith that if they can just find themselves one good goal, it'll not only set the tone for this matchup, but it'll give them the confidence to possibly hold on for the next couple of minutes here. It's not going to be easy, but if they're going to do it, it's going to be in a scenario like this where it's such a tense back and forth. Oh boy, but Aqua starting to dismantle this defense all by themselves. Great fake out in front of the net. That'll set up
Misty.
Pablo. The Misty diving through for the save there. And I got to say, Nexus Gaming, beyond impressing me, they have realized that they need to try and play this one pretty much perfectly. You give any sort of space to your opponents and they will capitalize. And, well, they do exactly that. First touch not going to be on target, but the follow-up from Aqua will ring home and put Northway up by 1.
And a great initial challenge there off of that double touch. Obviously, didn't work out the way you wanted in the long term, but able to get that initial first save. And Misty only credited with 3 on the board, but has done such a great job with the presence. And Gamma doesn't have the numbers credited either, but has done really well at challenging, just on the fringe of their zone and trying to get something going the other way. They're trying to find an answer back, but Northway's defense is just as stout as what NXG's been. But unfortunately, that was the first time in this game where we saw Northway, similar to the strategy in game number 1, where eventually it's just opportunity after opportunity. One is going to go in that eventually the shell will crack, and it finally got it to go, and in a crucial moment with a go-ahead goal under a minute to play now.
Yeah, that's the big thing there, is that they went right back to that offensive strategy, just waiting, keeping that pressure up, and eventually they find themselves a goal. Aqua trying to go for another one here as well. Looks to set up Pablo, but a good 50-50 and follow-up from Misty will not allow it. But this might allow some space out at midfield. Aqua cleverly goes for the bump there, but Pablo not that quick to follow up, so instead it'll lurk out at midfield here for just a little bit while longer. Shot on target, but Pablo will make the save. But Nexus Gaming coming close to finding that equalizer with 20 seconds left. They need it if they want to stay alive in the series overall, and they're fighting to do exactly that. Good transition though. Misty not quite able to get the touch though. The bump from Pablo, and I think that'll secure the game. Aqua takes us to the ceiling and will most likely just possess. No, will actually get a musty flick to finish this off. And as if it weren't already secured, that one will absolutely do it. Northway will advance to the grand finals. And we've got a rematch on our hands. Same as last week, same as this one.
And what a great showing there from Pablo Nako one more time. And that is, to put some style on it with the musty flick to finish that game. And a ton of credit there to NXG because their defense played so much better in that game, and their offense, even in transition, they had opportunities there. They just could not clutch up in the moment they needed. They just got bumped off the ball. They didn't have the possession to follow through with it. I mean, they got so close so many times to get a goal back, but they just were half a step too slow. They couldn't quite make up that lost ground.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth, is that when you're standing, just a step behind the entire action, you're always trying to catch up. And that's kind of what happened for Nexus there, is they never really had the advantage in the series. And as we look back upon the replays from the series powered by Microsoft ATL, we can really see exactly why they were in such a lower standing the entire time. As good as they looked, the offense we saw today out of Northway, I mean, I can't even say it was unexpected. This is what they do every time.
Right.
They deliver if you give them the space.
Yeah, and they look so good the way that they do everything that they do. I mean, they just look efficient and clean, and the moves that they make, the demos, the bumps that they were getting. I mean, they did that twice where they get a demo at midfield and then just put the ball to the back of the net because the defender's not even there. Didn't even have a chance off of it, but the reads on it to be able to put themselves in position off of the double touches, the dunks, the triple touches, even playing on the rebounds. They did so well with awareness of what was going on the field. And game one, their offense, I think, showcased exactly what you're talking about, just how good they are. Game two, a ton of credit to NXG for the adjustments they made, the adaptations they had to be able to slow down Pablo Nako, which is very difficult, but they were able to do just that and even come back with a fighting chance there. A garbage time goal, 4 seconds left to ensure a 3-1 scoreline, but NXG did so damn good in game number two to make that one that close.
That's the big thing there, is that they really did keep it close. And while they might not have taken the win here today, who knows? Maybe at the end of the month we see a different result, because both of these teams at this point have been invited back. Obviously, Northway were already invited from the first week where they got to the grand finals, but they also made the top four of this week. And like we said, just being able to get into the top four with repeated players means that you're guaranteeing yourselves a shot. So both of the teams that have made semifinals are going to show up at the end of the month here. Well, actually, I can't even say both. All four teams are obviously going to show up. The other ones had just already qualified before this. So it's going to be interesting. I have faith that we're going to see a good battle at the end of this one. But Northway, again, pop out on top here and do so with an emphasis, to put it simply. The big question now, though, does that emphasis, does this dominant win carry them enough to take a different result from last week? Last time Northway got here against Grupo Terricola, they didn't take the win. They fell in 5, but who knows? We're going to have to see. Trevor, we've got quite the matchup coming up on our hands, my friend. We've got just the grand finals left here today, and oh boy, man, I am beyond excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm excited as well, just in the sense that knowing that they went to 5 games, the way that we've seen both of them playing so far today, Northway's looked so good on the offensive front. Grupo Terricola, they had a hell of a matchup there here in their semis. I mean, both of them earned their right to go in a 2-0. We have yet to see a series go past a sweep at this point. So I think if we're going to get one, it's going to be one more time here. Unless, of course, you look to the other side and say, okay, Grupo Terricola knows exactly what they want and knows exactly what to expect out of Northway. So maybe Grupo Terricola just all of a sudden comes in, kicks the door down and says, nah, you had your 5-game series last week. We're not doing it again.
They're just trying to tell them, no, it's not happening here today. We've got too much momentum. We've got too much writing. So at this point, we're just going to say, hey, shut it down, shut it off, get it finished off while we've got the chance. I'm excited. I think that we're going to see a very, very good matchup here. I think both of these teams are just going to absolutely battle this one through. So I don't know, man. Any early predictions here? Do you think that indeed, like you said, this is just going to be one of these things where Grupo takes it because they've got that momentum and they've got that statement? Or do you think this is the day where Northway can change it up? Because I'd have to kind of agree with you. I think this is just a chance for Grupo to go, hey, you got close first week. We're not going to do it this one. So interested to hear your thoughts real quick.
Real quick thoughts are, it's going to be a great series. I don't expect a sweep. I'm going to call it a 3-1. And defending champ's going to take it again.
Ooh, all right. I like that. I like that. All right. Well, we're going to have to find out. Quick little break here. Get everything set up. Get everybody established. And then when we return, it is Grupo Terricola versus Northway in our first best of 5 of the day here It's going to be a battle. It's going to be an incredible one. It's going to be something you do not want to miss. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Atlanta Community Open Qualifier number 2 for October. This time, though, it's the grand finals, and this time you're joined by Bass from the Past and Confused Caribou. Trevor, we're here. It's the end of the month. It's the final day, or not the final day, excuse me. It's the end of the qualifier, which is going to lead to the end of the month. I'm confusing everything because I'm too excited because we've got a rematch of what was the first qualifier. Both these teams are already going to see us at the end of the month, so you know, honestly, it could be a preview of that very grand final here, but we're going to have to find out. Grupo Terricola versus Northway, best of 5 on our hands. And like I said, I'm too excited. I'm mincing up my words at this point.
At this point, they'd be spoiling us if we do get a double example of what the finals at the end of the month would look like because of the face-off of last month's qualifier, or last week's qualifier number 1, this week's qualifier number 2. Likewise, I'm starting to mix up my words because of the excitement I have for this. 2 solid squads, 4 insanely good players here getting ready to face off in this final. It's a 5-game set, and I mean, we've seen so many shots here. Lil Jon would be proud of what these 2 teams have been able to do on the offensive front here, because it's just been a lot of offense here. And I still think it's going to be whose defense steps up the best that is going to make the difference in this one. And from what we've seen so far, as I alluded, still, I think Grupo Terricola is probably going to take this. I don't think they go to 5 games again. I think it's a 3-1. I don't see a sweep, but I do see at least one extra game.
Yeah, I would say I see a pretty similar score line here. At minimum, I think that we do see a game for each side, but I'd agree with you. I think Grupo Terricola walk away with a win here, and I think they do so in a 3-1 fashion, if not 3-0 here. I hope Northway proves me wrong, but the unfortunate truth is that
Likewise.
Once you have beaten a team, you can sometimes just come back the next week and go, okay, well, we've got these guys read. We know what worked last week. Let's try it again this week. And if a team like Northway doesn't necessarily have an answer for what took them down the week previously, and they've got a lot of issues on their hands. So it's up to Northway here. I really do think that this series rests on their back more than it does on Grupo Terricola. Grupo have already proven they can take a win here. Grupo have already proven that they can take a win against most teams at this point. The only way to stop them is to adapt and to change up what your strategy was previously. So if Northway can do that, they've got a shot. If they come into this one with the same strategies last week, though, I think we just see the same result and Grupo walk away with a win.
I think on the other side, I mean, yeah, to your point, it is in the hands of Northway here as to what can they do from not only understanding in the same perspective of, okay, Grupo knows what worked last week. Pablo and Aqua know what didn't work last week. So what adjustments, what changes did they make here going into this series to be able to play better against Grupo Terricola? And I'm excited to see if they do have any, or if they're just going to say full send, we're going to go play our game. And if that's what works, and that's what works, that's the number one thing that a lot of professional players will tell you, regardless of what title you play under, is play your comfort. And that's where you're going to play the best, is just do what you do best. And after that, then you start to break down into the meticulous macro and micro and all that other nonsense where you're getting analytical on the gameplay. But play your style. And if that doesn't work, it's probably not going to be a good series.
I mean, at the end of the day, the fundamentals are a fundamental for a reason. We're not asking you to completely throw your strategy out the window and to change it up. When we say adaptations, we mean making those minor changes that change your gameplay in enough of a way that it puts you back into the series. A great example of that is teams that usually start to play a little bit more passive on defense. And that's fine. A lot of teams are passive on defense because they're just going to allow you to rip off shots and then wait for a good counterattack. But if you realize the team is ripping off too many shots and now you're getting uncomfortable on defense, maybe it's time to, instead of keeping the ball close and trying to hold possession until you can counter, maybe just boom the ball out of your half, buy yourself some space, and let your team get adjusted. Little stuff like that really can separate a series and can separate the two teams overall. So for Northway here, it's about finding those adaptations and really executing upon them perfectly, because against a team like Grupo Terricola, if you do not basically execute those adaptations perfectly, you are going to get punished. We've seen this already once here today against a very strong team in the Night Guard Gs. If you aren't able to play against them with pretty much perfection, you're going to get punished. Those little gaps on the back half are accentuated tenfold, and unless Northway can stand up to the test of time, this is going to be a rough series for them.
Very well, it could be as we get underway. Kickoff for game number 1 of our grand finals for qualifier number 2, the rematch from last week. Northway already with possession. Pablo's going to try to take this, but Dizzy will deflect this off of that upper 90. And again, in a best of 5, I still don't see a sweep coming. We've seen sweeps all day long, though, so this is the best series, I think, to prove it wrong, break the trend, and give us some extra Rocket League.
I'd love to see some extra Rocket League. I just want to see this battle continue to go back and forth here, because 30 seconds into it, you can already tell how tense this is going to be. Neither team able to find themselves a goal despite chances on both ends. But despite a close one for Northway there, they will hold on for now and try and send this the other way. Stizzy not going to let them do that easily, though. Stizzy actually going to get the first goal of this game. Grupo Terricola striking while the iron is hot, and Northway just kind of have to sit here jaw-dropped and watch it happen.
Yeah, Aqua just got a little too much juice behind that touch on the wall, and Stizzy just at full speed just took that one away off the roof and sent it to, as you said, with jaws drop. I mean, they just did not have the time to react. Now Aqua's going to try to find something off the board. Instead goes a little too high. Could not play off the double touch either, but they're on the right side of the field. Pablo, 36 boost, can't get much more out of that. Was hoping that back boost would respawn. Drives it up the wall, does get a bump there, and it almost gets a shot on. Instead, replaced with a demo onto Rubik's, but maintaining the back boost. They do get possession one more time. Aqua's got a lot in the pocket, but cannot get the angle on to get the shot. And now all of a sudden, all that boost is gone. Got to at least take a reset here for Aqua.
Have to try and reset here, but unfortunately they get a little bit baited out. Rubik's there, clever enough, just takes a half a second on the wall, and that throws the entire rotation of Northway out of whack here. They are scrambling to get out of their side. Oh, but Aqua with a good dust at midfield is actually going to put this one, no, not into the back of the net. Is the follow-up going to go in? Yes, it will. Pablo will score the equalizer there, and oh, it's a little bit unfortunate. Aqua was probably banking on this one being a goal.
Yeah, almost had that one there, and of course, with that midair collision, completely takes Rubik's out of the equation. There's no chance Rubik's is going to get back in time. But on the other side, Stizzy gets the initial, at least, crossing to try to get a save, but then after that, it's just a play the rebound at midfield, but get an answer. Great shot on by Rubik's. Better save coming across by Pablo. Make sure they don't get the go-ahead here. Right now, Northway, Pablo's going to take that one solo and sneak it underneath the defender. Northway here is looking to make a statement saying, yeah, we know what happened last week. We're not going to let it happen again.
Ooh, they're keeping themselves close in this one. They do not want to back down in any way, shape, or form, and you can understand why. When you're looking this good, it's going to make sense that you would feel yourself in game number one and really feel like you can take the series. But that's going to be a lot easier said than done with this much time left on the clock. 3 minutes remaining here, and Grupo Terricola are not going to back down whatsoever. First, they're going to have to get out of their own half, though. Rubik's in an awkward position out at midfield here. Will take that boost, though. This should lead to a little bit more of an extended offense, but not if they play this one too patiently. Sent into the back half, and Aqua is just going to try and back pass this to Pablo. Not quite able to do so here, but you can see Northway up in the pace of play here. They are not giving room to Grupo Terricola. If Grupo want a goal here, they're not going to have to outpace their opponents, but they're really going to have to try and figure out a way to get some free space overall, because Northway are just interrupting them for now. Another good interruption in front of the net, and that will secure this 2-1 for now.
Yeah, Stizzy almost got away with one right there. Instead, just the momentum on the car was enough to keep that ball from rolling forward. Just a few pixels more to go across, and instead, like you said, it stays a 2-1 scoreline. Pablo and Aqua now on the other end, threatening here and taking that back boost again from Grupo Terricola. This is the thing we touched on at the very beginning of the day. Northway, with that increase in pace, also are increasing the pressure on this side and pinning Grupo Terricola back for a decent portion of time here. And that is why they're holding on to this lead and just making Grupo play a little more reactive probably than they are accustomed to at this point. And Northway just making it look a lot easier than it realistically is, but they're making it look good.
I mean, at this point, they look really confident here. Northway don't seem to have missed a beat in between games here. They understand what type of strategy they want and are executing upon it perfectly. They are happy to withstand some of this pressure on defense as long as it means they can transition into a clean enough offense. And, oh boy, Pablo really trying to transition that one into a very solid offense there. Not quite able to get it past the last defender, but now with some pressure out in midfield here, can they find themselves at minimum a shot? 50-50 from Rubik's, though, is going to hit the ceiling, and Pablo will hit out the ceiling with a follow-up 50-50 as well. But it's not going to end the offense here for Grupo Terricola. With a minute remaining, they're looking for an equalizer. Want to force an overtime at minimum here. That's a lot easier said than done when the defense of Northway is standing tall. They've done so far, but like we said, with a minute remaining, there's plenty of time for that one golden goal from Grupo Terricola.
The opportunity here, but Pablo posted on the wall looking for at least a challenge. Rubik's looking for the flip. Reset off the double touch. Stizzy is able to follow up. The defense bit got out of the picture, and Stizzy's going to be able to get that equalizer with under 40 to play here. Great patience by Rubik's on the approach, and just let Stizzy do the rest coming in from midfield.
Fantastic way to get yourself back into this game here. Grupo Terricola showing that, hey, you want to play a patient game, that's fine. You're just giving us more space, and they do the most with said space there. Set up that play, do so beautifully, and execute when the time counts. And with 30 seconds left, the next team to really execute most likely will take this one. It's looking like golden goal scenario here, and it could be huge for Northway as they approach the offense now. Pass out to the center, though, intercepted, and instead it's Pablo. Will have to take this back into their own half. 15 seconds left here. Going to have one more attempt at offense. Pablo will go for the flip reset. Denied by Stizzy. Sent out to the side, but Aqua will be waiting in the wings. Gets a good demo, but can't stomp out Rubix. Rubix somehow, some way, walks away with a clean possession and will send this to the other end. But I think we're going to overtime here. Indeed, we are. Hits the ground, and finally, we've got a HyperX overtime here. It is 2-2 in the first game of this best of 5. In this final, it's already delivering, Caribou.
The second overtime we have seen today, starting out with the demo onto Aqua as they're threatening here on this side of the field. But again, you see Rubix and Stizzy just slowing this game down and just trying to get Pablo and Aqua at this point impatient, where they will make a mistake going the other way. But you see the amount of time and pressure Pablo and Aqua are putting on this side of the field. Stizzy's going to try to take this one, but a good challenge here from Pablo with the full boost is going to be able to get to this ball and send it towards the corner where Aqua will catch, gets the back boost as well. So right now in control of the capability to get the pacing, and Aqua's getting able to sneak it in off the defender. The overtime goal, all of a sudden, Northway take the 3-2 lead, take game number 1 in the grand finals.
That's a heck of a way to do exactly that. Slams it into the top left, and Northway really putting an emphasis there on game number 1. They win the overtime, and that's a big one for them, Caribou, because at this point, it's something they really couldn't do last week, which was find an edge on Grupo Terricola and kind of hold on to that. We had a lot of back and forth, but I hate to say it for Grupo's sake, it felt like Northway were in lead the entire game. They really did look like they were kind of dominant there. I'm not saying that it's domination outright, but I felt like they were the team that was on the better foot throughout that game.
I will agree with you. To take a look at the replays here powered by Microsoft ATL out of game number 1, this was a game that I think, as you look at it, as you mentioned, and I think you made a great point in it, Pablo and Aqua really set the tempo, really set the pace, and we're trying to up that pacing for a lot of this game. And it wasn't until we saw Rubix and Stizzy slow the game down is when they really started to get back into it. They got their possessions to go the other way. They got Pablo and Aqua to just make a little bit of an overcommitment on their defensive stances and just get themselves slightly out of position. They almost overtuned themselves on the defensive front, and that's what let Rubix and Stizzy have those opportunities to get the equalizer with under 40 to play. And at that point, you saw as we go into overtime, Pablo and Aqua, that's a reset, a full reset. Pablo and Aqua then take the tempo right back and put it right back to where it was when they started.
This is going to be an interesting one here. I'm very excited for this, Caribou, because we're just going to hop right on into the action. Game number 2 underway, and we already missed some of the action. Kickoff goal, and it's for Grupo Terricola.
A whole 6 seconds. We're just going to watch Stizzy take this off the side. Gets a little bit of bump on the way, and yeah, little balloon celebration for that one. They're going to get the first goal here very early on, and Terricola now looking to see if they understand the assignment of their adjustments to game number 2. And while Stizzy's done it once, he's done it twice. 6 seconds each. Stizzy's got 2 goals, and they got a 2-0 lead.
2-0 lead, and what a turnaround for Grupo Terricola here. Not even within 15 seconds, they find themselves some domination, and maybe that loss in game 1 is what sparked that, little bit of fire underneath their butts, and all of a sudden they've recognized that, hey, no mercy whatsoever. We're just going to keep on scoring. They tried to do it for a 3rd time within the first 30 seconds, but if it weren't for the post, they would have done exactly that. A little bit off target, in Northway now with an opportunity to send it the other way, but Pablo denied out at midfield, and Stizzy picks up a goal because of it. Oh boy, they're looking very aggressive, and they're doing so in a spectacular fashion.
Are we sure these are the 2 same teams that we just watched? Because this is not what I just saw at all. A Grupo Terricola just looks, by and large, leagues better than Northway right now. And it's only 29 seconds into this game. After how good Northway looked in the last game, it seemed like they took this series into their hands. They understood what had to be done to change from last week's result, and they increased the pace of this game, and they were able to then get the victory of that. Of the complete flip of the script this side, Grupo Terricola have set the pace of this game, and it's way above what Northway is able to keep up with. And that's why they find themselves down 3 goals already.
I'm kind of shocked by this result, but also at the same time, as you just explained, it makes perfect sense. The way that Grupo Terricola is playing this one, you'd expect them to be up by 3 here because they just look like a different team. But, oh boy, are they going to find themselves a 4th goal already?
Man.
Rubik's not able to slot past the final defender, but Stizzy can indeed. And there's a big thing that we're also seeing as difference from the first game. This 1-2 punch, you get someone to set up the goal, they will have a follow-up, and that's exactly what they did here. Before you can even blink, Stizzy has shot this one to the back of the net.
It's almost reminiscent of what we've seen Kieran do so many times in Community Open's past. Just setting up an opportunity to have your teammate follow up on the backside is something that teams that make it this far, they do quite frequently. And that one is just going to be a lone opportunity there. Defense just caught a little bit off to the left side. Rubik's a beautifully placed shot here to put it out of reach of Pablo, trying to get back in front of the net in time. And this is a complete domination by Grupo Terricola in game number 2. We're not even a minute and a half into this game, and it's 5-0.
I didn't even recognize that. I knew it was 5-0, but I wasn't paying attention to how little time had passed at this point. Hey, this is kind of crazy. This is just utter dominance right now. Oh, but here could be a way to get yourself back into it, if not for Rubik's, who comes flying through with a beautiful save. Tell me they're going to score on the other end. It's only fitting. Slams this one home, and indeed they will. Stizzy will get credited. But oh my word, Grupo Terricola, they're not just feeling themselves, they're feeling the game, they're feeling the pitch, they're feeling everything. The life force of this pitch at this point has been sucked into them. 6-0 in not even 2 minutes, Caribou.
This is like what we saw out of the last game from Northway in their semifinal match. Like, just recognizing that this is a statement victory here. And it's going to be exactly that. I think they've already recognized it just to go next. They've left the match. It's going to be a victory here for Grupo Terricola, recognizing it's too little too late. It's too far gone out of this point. So Rubik's with the celebration 360. I don't know if you've ever seen a go next that fast in a Community Open ever, but that was a statement victory by Grupo Terricola that is absolutely sending a message to Northway that, okay, yeah, you got a game. Don't expect it to happen again.
I don't expect anybody to ever beat Grupo Terricola again. Oh my word. That's a GG go next within under 2 minutes. I don't think I've seen that ever in anything from any level of capacity, from pro down to amateur. I've never seen a team get that quick of a start and have the other team just go, I want nothing to do with these guys. We're evened up now.
Yeah.
We're going back to, I assume, what is the Northway servers for this one, but are servers really going to make that much of a difference? You got 6-0 in 2 minutes. You need a massive change there, Trevor.
Yeah, it's a lot to go, but I think as close as it was in the Grupo Terricola and Northway, I mean, as close as game 1 was, and then a change over to game 2, where it's all EU servers, as we're being told. I will defer to my initial question. Are we sure it's the same 2 teams?
Did someone just get handed a controller in between matches here? Because it's always a little thing of, did your little brother take over? I'm going to guess not, but we'll look back upon these replays and we can ponder a little bit more here. Brought to you by Microsoft ATL. Let's see exactly how quickly they were able to tilt their opponents out of this match. Stizzy starts off with an air dribble, bumps them out of the way. I don't think we caught that the first time through. Not even 30 seconds later, and they're already getting their 3rd goal from a cross-court attack. I mean, you can just see the breakdown here. The more aggressive that Northway got, the better Grupo Terricola started playing.
Yeah, it was just a complete flip of a switch there from Grupo Terricola for what they were doing. I mean, it was just all of a sudden, like you said, with that first 6-second goal, 6 seconds later, they got the 2nd. 15 seconds later, they got the 3rd. And then from there, you just rack it up. And at that point, yeah, you hit the 3:18 mark. And that was 6-0 scoreline. That's a recognition easily. Yeah, this is not going to go any better. This is not going to go any differently. There's no way at all Pablo and Aqua can put together a 6-goal comeback in that time. I mean, that's a lot of time, but just the amount of momentum and confidence that they were playing with, Grupo Terricola was playing with at that point, it's just, yeah, there's nothing to be done about this one. We'll just start with the clean slate.
I don't blame them. I'm always one of those people that's like, never forfeit. You've always got a chance. I mean, we saw this earlier today with a 2-goal comeback in like 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
6-0 might be the only time that I can say it's a little bit acceptable and understandable. At a certain point, you just don't want to let your momentum and your confidence run so low that you've got none going into the next match. If you know you're already
Right.
going to take a loss, cut your losses where they're at, try and regain in between matches, and then get back into it. So we've got game number 3 here in this matchup. This is going to be a telling one, though. If Grupo Terricola come out the gates firing the same as before and just have utter dominance to start this game, it might already be said and done here for Northway.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect ever to get a 2-0 scoreline 11 seconds into the game, especially teams of this caliber that are so relatively evenly matched from what we've seen from game number 1. But look at a game number 2, just 2 completely different stories as to what happened in that one. And now already starting out here, a little bit slower pace. We've got over 30 seconds without any goals, and I don't even know if we have credited for any shots on either side. Rubik's and Stizzy both with zeros across the board, and can't imagine Pablo and Aqua have much of anything either. There's going to be the first shot credited. Pablo just a touch high. Stizzy will get that save and help with the crossbar, but Pablo and Aqua still here, still knocking. They get a bump out of the way, and that's going to be enough to open the door. Northway gets the first goal in game 3.
I'd love to have a preview of the comms right now because Northway, the highs and lows of the emotion on that one. They get a double bump to start off the first demo, then bump, can't get it past the defender. They go that time, they do get the bump and get it past the defender. So that team feeling all the emotions in the world right now, and I got to hope that that emotional toll is going to lead them to a victory here because they need it. In my opinion, they lose this at the end of the series. If Grupo Terricola loses this one, okay, we go to game number 5 most likely because I think they take game 4 and then, force a game 5. If Northway lose this one, though, I think it's too much momentum against them. They go down 2-1 in the series against a team that has been showing they get hotter and hotter as the series goes on. So I gotta hope that we can see some sort of comeback out of Northway right now because despite the 1-0 lead, I'm not convinced they're going to take this game overall. We've got 3.5 minutes remaining, and a Grupo Terricola that is just looking for the equalizer. They're actually looking to do a little bit of damage out of midfield here. Rubik's not quite able to get the first shot, but will bully afterwards. Sets up Stizzy perfectly, and what a way to equalize.
Yeah, and again, Pablo just took a little detour to get that midfield boost, and that was enough to open up the door. Rubik's, as you said, could get a little bullying on the way and let Stizzy come in from behind to get that shot on and get that goal equalizer. So, minute and a half in, we're up a game apiece, a goal apiece for both of them, and we're right back to what we expected out of this series. Swing and a miss right there in front of the net. Missed it by that much, but would have been a great opportunity. Instead, we see a counterattack the other way. Aqua gets a deflection on. So I think at this point, just call game 2 an outlier and don't expect that again.
I'd like to hope we don't get that again, to be honest, because as much as it is fun to see one's team kind of stunt, when you've got teams of this caliber, you're hoping they go back and forth. You're hoping to see a good match where both teams get themselves the best possible shot. And that one, it was one team got a shot. The other one just kind of had to sit there and watch as they just hit the bullseye on repeat. So let's see if we can have a change up here. Northway have kept it down to this 1-1 score line, but they were the first team to score. And since then, haven't really found as much offensive success. Grupo Terricola, though, struggling to get out past midfield here. So instead, they'll have to try and make a stand on the line. Stizzy, a good save there, but it's not enough to transition into an offense here because Aqua is waiting out at midfield, but so is Pablo. They bump into each other, and that's actually going to open up some space now on the back end. Pablo can't pick up this boost in the corner due to the presence of Rubik's there, but they will pick it up afterwards after a good 50-50, but it's all too late. They gave enough room, and Grupo Terricola will find the second goal and find the lead with just underneath half the game remaining.
Just a good challenge there out of the corner, and then another 50 win on that. And as you said, they finally got the ball out of their defensive zone, opened up some space, because to that point, they were getting boost starved. There was so much control of the boost by Northway. They were doing such a good job to keep Rubik's and Stizzy on this side of the field that there wasn't much the other way. But this time around, they very quickly will find an answer back. Aqua's going to be one credited with that. Pablo tried to get a little end around. Rubik's kills all momentum and can't get back in time. And Stacey's just caught in the net. It's going to give a second goal here for Northway, who has spent a lot more time on this side of the field this game, similar to what we saw early on in game number 1.
I do like the difference we're seeing right now out of Northway here, where it does feel like once they do get any sort of offensive pressure, they make it very threatening. And now, I'm a little bit concerned because the defense hasn't necessarily stood up against what is a very solid offense in Grupo Terricola, but if they can keep getting themselves some offenses, I've got a lot of faith that this team can really recover here. It's up to them, though. They need to try and find more offensive opportunities. Once they push past midfield, they look like a different team. But for right now, they're looking very similar like the team in game number 2 here, where they're just enduring so much pressure. Good pop out for midfield, though, and Pablo might be able to start up an offense for Northway. Let's see if they can get back into that boost starvation gameplay, but not if they're diving out of midfield. Aqua giving a lot of time for both players in the opposite team to get something together here. As a result, Stizzy gonna get a solo play off the backboard. Pablo will read it. But I don't like that out of Northway. Northway, this is not a team you want to start giving space to. Obviously, it's going to mean that you guys have a little bit more confidence on defense, but giving space to a team like Grupo Terricola is just asking to get stunted on.
Yeah, almost a great setup. The other side, Rubik's there with a beautiful save to stop Pablo from carrying that one all the way in, and Stacey's going to get the challenge to make sure Aqua doesn't have a chance either. The demo's going to deny that midfield boost, and again, Pablo and Aqua seem like they're in control with the amount of boost available, but the midfield play is going to be able to keep things at least in the mix. Aqua's going to get demoed on the other side. Now see what Stizzy can do on a solo, but Respawn's going to come in time. We got 35 seconds to play. Very explosive matchup and the last few seconds here on this possession, waiting to see who is going to finally take advantage in regulation or if we're going to see another overtime.
Well, it could just end right here, though. Pablo with a breakaway play going the other way, and Rubik's on their back heel just trying to hold on for now.
The patience.
Not the greatest touch out of Pablo, though. That one popped out to midfield, easily sent the other way, but with only about 10 seconds left, this is the final attack we're going to see. Pablo goes for the bump, can't quite get it. Stizzy easily clears this one out, but there's one more chance. Can they find something? Can they find a good shot? It is going to stay up. Wasn't sure. And Stizzy's going to keep this one alive. Tries to get a shot past the final defender, but instead it drops down in the corner, and we go to another overtime brought to you by HyperX. It's either been an overtime or a blowout at this point. It's a little bit of the highs and lows here, but hey, it's been a fun one to watch, to put it simply, Caribou.
Absolutely. Stacey's going to try to put an end to this one immediately. Rubik's going to take this in front of the net, and I think at this point, from what we've seen in overtime play, Northway's probably going to be the one that expected to take edge on this. That shot just a little high, and Stizzy, you wish, could take that one back, but a lot of pressure, a lot of boost in the faces here of Northway. The shot's on, just slightly off target again. The framework not giving any help here to Grupo Terricola, as they've had 2 shots off of the upright and the crossbar. Ball's going to be challenged at midfield and take it back the other way. And right now, Grupo Terricola feel like the team that are in control, and Northway playing little scrambly.
I think part of this is the fact that they don't really have any boost. You can see Aqua with quite literally 0 in the tank out at midfield here. They're trying to get some sort of threatening offense together. It kind of feels like one player at a time is able to do so. It's either Pablo or Aqua who's got boost in the tank and the ability to take a shot. And against a team like Grupo Terricola, you're not really going to be able to make it off of a solo play unless it's something spectacular we haven't seen before. The team plays have been by far the most crucial, whether that is a good play overall. It's going to be kind of necessary here. So let's see if we can find something with what little time we have left. And Trevor, I think you're going to have to take over. Looks like my game might have just crashed.
Oh no. Well, at this point, that means with a minute and a half, the shot is going to be looking for a move here. Again with the boost, you see Stizzy and Rubik's trying to make an attack. They do have the ball in the corner. They don't pick up that boost. So now we'll see what Stizzy can do as the ball is going the other way. Pablo and Aqua trying to find an answer, but that's just a quick clearance out. They do get the boost. Good stop right there by Stizzy. Looking to get the punch in, but cannot. Will be stuffed at the line, but they're still threatening here in the box. One more time. Stizzy's going to take this around. Pablo will take possession, but again, 0 boost in the tank, and now going to pick up a little bit and get the back boost. Waiting to see if they can capitalize off of this now that they've made their way out. Rubik's here, likewise, with no boost in the name, picks up the back boost from Northway. We've hit 2 minutes and 20 seconds of free Rocket League, and still not an inch to give on either side. See if this is going to be the one on. It's a little bit high after the deflection from Aqua. Now we'll see Rubik's in the air. He's going to be challenged and met by Pablo. Stizzy riding up the wall. There's a little bit of a bump there on the defense in front, but instead it's going to go long. It's going to go the other way, and that ball is going to go to the back of the net. Finally, we get the go-ahead. 2.5 minutes have passed, and Northway one more time take another game in overtime, and now it is a 2-1 series score in favor of Northway, and I think at this point it should be all in favor of Northway for this series, riding this momentum, because obviously now Bass and I both are incorrect in our predictions because we said 3-1 to Grupo Terricola. As a matter of fact, Bass even said it might be a 3-0, and that was immediately wrong on that one. But Northway in overtime looking so damn good for what they do, because on both sides it was just so back and forth. The defenses stood up, the offenses had their opportunities to try to get the shots on, try to get anything back on the other side. Instead, it's just that back and forth on defense and offense. Try to get the clearance, try to get the boost starvation. Eventually, Northway gets the challenge, gets the pinch, sends it long, and takes that game. So now it comes down to this. If Grupo Terricola lose one more, unfortunately, will end their reign of 1 week in a row that they've won a qualifier. So now looking for their second week here in this one. $175 on the line in this final as well. So now looking to see what can be done as I welcome back my compatriot and Bass from the past, now here in the present. And you missed a pretty decent overtime there.
I am really bummed about that one because I heard most of it. It was the weirdest crash I think I've ever had for my PC, where the vMix call just kind of dropped, but I could still hear what was going on. So if I'm hearing this right, are Northway in the lead right now and have a chance to take down Grupo Terricola?
They sure are. They absolutely are. And we are wrong on our prediction.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit wrong here, but well, we're gonna have to find out whether or not that makes a difference here, because as we mentioned before, Grupo Terricola, not a team to back down easily. With the fourth game underway, there's a chance we still go to 5.
Absolutely, and I'm not going to complain from a game 5 at all if we do get that, but coming into this one with the Northway in the series lead here now, looking to take series point on this. Of course, Grupo Terricola beat them last time around. Now going to get one back. Rubik's this time around is going to get the first goal for Grupo Terricola in game number 4. And they just do not want to go down without a fight. They just said, you know what, maybe we will take it to game 5.
We're going to have to see whether or not we can get there first, though, because we're only about 30 seconds gone here. Plenty of time for a comeback out of Grupo Terricola. I don't think that they're necessarily going to hold on to this 1-goal lead. I don't think that they're necessarily going to just get an easy path here. I think Northway are going to keep on fighting. They know that they need to win this one, and oh my word, are they putting everything at them, but Stizzy throwing everything at them as well. Grupo Terricola with a beautiful on-the-line save.
Just able to at least get a little bit of a slow. That one almost had enough of an angle on the upright to bounce back in favorably there for Northway to get their equalizer. But now we see them again getting a lot of boost out from the pockets of Grupo Terricola, looking for a reset or something of the nature to slow this attack from Northway. And as we said, game 2 seems like the outlier at this point, because the way that game 1, game 3, and now this one has gone, it is just so fight back and forth here as to who's going to take the smallest of advantages and turn them into points on the board.
We're going to have to find out who that's going to be, because like you said, it's been the smallest of margins here, the narrowest little differences between the two teams. But unfortunately for Northway, it doesn't seem like they're being able to find many advantages at all. They've not found themselves a goal through 2 minutes of play, but they might find one here. Great defense out of Rubik's, though. We'll keep it out for now. And Grupo Terricola really locking down on defense right now. The back line for them a lot steadier than before. Meanwhile, Northway, though, really trying their best to just find some sort of offense here. But I don't think they're going to. Rubik's, I don't think, recognized that that demo was coming through. Had they just shot that on target, I think that's an easy goal, but instead now they've given an opportunity for Northway to send this one the other way. If they can equalize off of the mistake from Grupo Terricola, that would be huge for the team, but it's a lot easier said than done. 1v1 though, Aqua just trying to bump Stizzy out of the way, but all they've done is overcommit and give an easy goal to Stizzy. Grupo Terricola gonna go up by 2 just before halftime.
Yeah, like you said, just attempted for that little bit of a bump onto Stizzy, and instead took Aqua completely out of the play to leave it open. It's just up to Pablo at that point. He's playing catch-up, and Stizzy just has to put it on target. But look, I mean, look at the scores. 5 shots here for Northway to the 2 for Grupo Terricola. They got 2 shots. They got 2 goals. So if my math adds up, that's pretty good.
pretty solid. I'm not necessarily going to complain at this point. I think they're doing about as good as they can do here. The question is whether or not good is good enough here, because with 2 minutes remaining, there are opportunities for Northway to get back into this one. They just need that one goal. And we've seen this before. Northway are a team that at the highs, they can really take it to Grupo Terricola. At the lowest, the lows, they can get blown out without a second thought. So I'm going to hope it's not the latter of those two. Let's not see a repeat of game number 2 where they just could not figure out a way to slow down their opponents. So far, they have figured out a way to slow them down, but haven't necessarily been able to counter them. With almost 2 minutes remaining, there is also still chances for Grupo to score more goals in this game as well.
Yeah, and just the amount of back and forth again, as we saw in the last game, not only in regulation, but also overtime. It's just any given moment, either side can really take possession, get the boost starvation going, and just start to apply the pressure to the opposing team. The problem with it is, Northway has a ticking clock here, under a minute and a half to play, down 2 goals. They got to find a way to do it sooner rather than later. A shot goes a little bit high there for Pablo. Aqua's going to catch in the corner to put it back into play. It stays in. Rubik's almost with a dangerous touch there. Could have very easily bounced into the back of your own net, but instead, take a reset to midfield here, collect some boost for both sides, and look for the next advancement on the offense. We hit 60 seconds left.
60 seconds left, and
okay.
Oh boy, there's one more goal. I think that'll most likely secure the game here. It's a little bit of an awkward one as Pablo basically own goals this one, but minute left. Still possible for Northway. Don't want to say it's impossible, but it's looking like Grupo Terricola found their form again. And considering they let this one play on for the full 5 minutes, it means there's not going to be as much of a reset in between games here. Northway really going to have to try and scramble back here and find themselves a win in game number 5, and that's a lot easier said than done here. When Grupo Terricola are feeling good, almost no one can stop them.
Yeah, and this is now all of a sudden a question mark as to, what just happened, because it feels like Northway would have a lot of momentum coming into this game after another overtime victory, albeit a very hard-fought overtime victory. It's not like it was decisive. It wasn't like 3 seconds off the kickoff and that the overtime's over. But this is a point now where Northway, who should have been in control of momentum, have now forfeited back to neutral ground. And instead of a best of 5, instead of a best of 3, we're going to go to a best of 1, where it comes once more to the last game 5 between these two squads. And this is exactly what both of us asked for.
This is everything I could have hoped for. This is exactly what we were looking for between these two teams. A battle that was legendary, and a battle that will indeed go to game number 5 as Grupo Terricola take a 3-0 win in game 4. That's a little bit concerning, though. The shutout is big. That's a huge thing. When you get this deep into a series and one of the two teams shuts each other out, it means that they've started to get a read on the other one. So for Grupo Terricola, I actually have them as favorites going into game number 5 here. And as we look back upon the replays from game number 4, you can understand why they were dominant throughout that game. There's no two ways about it. Even at their greatest moments, Northway, just didn't look like they were back into this one whatsoever.
Yeah, it was just a lot of control from Stizzy and Rubik's both. I mean, just being able to have the amount of pressure put on the other side, and even with the opportunities Pablo and Aqua had, it just almost seemed like there was always an answer on the defensive stance from the likes of Stizzy and Rubik's. I mean, there was just nothing that Pablo and Aqua could do to maneuver around, to create the opportunity. Like we saw, Stizzy just had so many chances there, ended up getting those shots, and that they made those shots count. Northway had more shots on target, but as you said, that shutout is huge. That's a statement that Grupo Terricola was able to not only shut them out, but get outshot and still win that game.
Efficiency versus just constant pressure. It's two very, very viable strategies in Rocket League. People do both of them. The unfortunate truth is, though, at the end of the day, only one of the two of them can really work in certain scenarios. So right now, it's the team who can keep up the most pressure versus a team that can just shoot on target every time. Who's going to win it? I have no idea. We're going to find out, though. It is game number 5 in this best of 5. Grupo Terricola looking for their second qualifier win in a row. Northway looking for some revenge after taking second in the last one. All I can tell you is one thing for certain, Caribou. If these two teams face up at the end of the month, it's going to be a battle, and it's going to be a legendary one at that.
As we said, the fact that we've seen this matchup twice in a row is just spoiling us in setup for that grand finals. A shot on here. Aqua is going to have a great opportunity. Stizzy, though, with a great save to make sure it does not go in. Rubik's gets a little bit of a flip there over the top to keep this ball in play and avoid that challenge. Stacey's going to get the shot on, and Pablo's going to get the save, and the demo in front of the net might keep this possession extended, but the respawn will come through in time. And now Rubik's in the air will be met over the box. And we've gone 60 seconds now without a goal. Aqua with some style on the back flip. Can't get the shot on, though, as it will be brushed aside.
Brushed aside, but Stizzy not going to brush this one aside. He's going to musty flick it into the air and try and set up a shot for his teammate. Grupo Terricola, though, without a shot so far here in about 2 minutes of play. They've come close, but not quite able to find something threatening here. And this one off target, it will get registered as a shot from Rubik's, but easily saved from Aqua. Now, speaking of Aqua, he's going to take this one the other way, put a shot that's also easily saved by Stizzy, and we've got end-to-end action. Both these teams now looking very comfortable. They're allowing each other to take shots. They're just waiting for the perfect shot that sinks into the back of the net, and could this be the one? No, it's a bit off target, but Aqua cross-court clear, and that'll set up another offense for Northway.
Pablo looking to get something off the backboard. Watch the follow from Aqua. Woo! Great shot. Better save from Stizzy instead. Pablo with the end around one more time will get the first goal here in this game. Put them up 1-0, just over 3 minutes to play, and that's a great 1-2. Great amount of pressure that they just maintained that whole possession.
Fantastic play all around there. Northway continue to impress me here today. Again, as much as these are two pretty evenly matched teams here, Caribou, I think we can both agree in saying that Northway come into this one the underdogs. They come in against the Grupo Terricola, which is obviously the favorites, and they've delivered. They have made sure that they, no matter what, stay in this match. Oh boy, but they also do need to put shots on target. You get an open opportunity like that, Pablo, it's probably not going to arrive again. And especially against a team like Grupo Terricola, you need to take it. Still impressive play nonetheless, but that's a little bit of a blemish on the record, to put it simply.
On the other side, Rubik's with the great opportunity there in front of the net, had the chance to put a shot on and put it on target. Stizzy has an accidental input to get a bounce off the wall. Can't put that one back into play, so now it's going to go back to the other side. Good challenge in midfield, though. A one-on-one scenario there. Unfortunately, Aqua does get up in time, but a good putback there from Rubik's. Great read, and Pablo caught flat-footed. Will give the equalizer up. 2:14 to play. It's 1-1.
This felt kind of inevitable. When they let this stay on their half for that long, despite the bump on the wall like you had mentioned there, where it just kind of felt like the momentum dropped, you know Grupo's going to score. You've got to take it out of your half when you get opportunities like that. Allowing too much time from Grupo Terricola does two things. One, it allows them to develop a solid offense together, and two, it allows you to get boom starved, and that is something you do not want in a matchup like this where the pace of play is so quick. The good thing is, though, when they do have boost, Northway are a solid team. Steal it out at midfield, pop it over one, and shoot it past the other. Aqua dismantling the defense by themselves and put Northway up by one.
Single-handedly just taking that from one to the next and getting that ball to the back of the net was reminiscent of the play style that we saw from Northway in game number 1, where they just were able to outpace Grupo Terricola, being able to have more boost than them outright. It just is the answer that they needed in game 1 to get the victory. It's the answer that Aqua just utilized to get that go-ahead goal. Under 2 minutes to play, they are up that one goal. In a Game 5 situation where this is the do or die in the grand finals. Coming up on the last 90 seconds here, Grupo Terricola, the defending champions, have to find an answer back the other way, but they're spending a little too much time in that mutual demolition here. Give it to a one-on-one between Rubik's and Pablo, but Pablo picks up the boost, so Rubik's can't do much more.
Now, going the other way, I will say this. If Northway score themselves another one, I'm almost convinced to say they're going to take the game outright, because Grupo Terricola have had very little opportunities on offense throughout this game. And the ones they have, they've been easily captured by Northway. Northway seems to have done their homework here. They recognize where the weaknesses are of Grupo Terricola and are picking and prodding at them perfectly, exposing them further than we've seen any other team expose them. But the unfortunate truth is, despite their best efforts and despite a really impressive performance, they're only up by one. All it takes is one good goal for Grupo, and they're right back into it. And it could have been that right there. Fantastic last-second save from Aqua, but they're going to need to hold on. 45 seconds left, and all it takes is one good shot.
And we know that they are capable of putting that one up at any given moment. They've had a couple of really close opportunities in the last 30 seconds, but now under 30 to play. They have to find an answer and not give anything up the other way, because now this is a do or die. If
Oh.
they give one up here, that is going to be it. And Pablo does just that. Gets another goal, puts them up by 2, 3-1 with under 30 to play. Northway is now in control of this game, of this series, and of their fate.
I love this Pablo redemption arc. Misses the open net earlier when it was a bit of a tough angle, but gets an even tougher one there to not only slot it around the defender, but put it perfectly into the bottom left corner. And Pablo might have just secured the game overall for Northway. Let's see if they can get a fourth for the road.
Oh.
No such luck. Stizzy will keep that one out, but with 13 seconds left on the clock and a full length of the field to go the other way if they even want a shot, Northway have done it. They secure themselves the win in best of 5 fashion against the team which took them down in week number 1, and we're all evened up. It's 1-1. Each of these teams have now taken a qualifier here, and against the exact same opponents now. Northway, congratulations on taking first place here in qualifier 2 and taking yourselves $125 home. Caribou, we've got a finals at the end of this month that is going to be beyond stacked. I am so excited for this one.
And the best part of that is, as we already mentioned in our semifinals, all 4 of those teams going to be going to the end of the month's qualifier, or end of the month finals. So that's going to be that much more exciting. We take a look at the replays here from this incredible finals powered by Microsoft ATL, and looking at what we've seen not only just here in the finals, but all day long. I mean, this was just an incredible event, start to finish. We saw some amazing teams, but when it came down to it, Northway, Pablo and Aqua just looked so good. Says we started out with them, and you can't take anything away from a team that played this well all day long. Of course they're going to make it to the finals, and of course they're going to have a say to try to contest, and of course they're going to force a game 5 and eventually walk away with the first prize money.
I'm so proud of them for being able to do exactly that too, because again, they lost last week and really had to recover here in this one as well. You could have expected after game 2 that the series was over and that Northway were just going to FF from there on out and never find their momentum. And I would have said it's a reasonable call, because when you get destroyed that badly in just 2 minutes of gameplay, most teams would tilt out. Northway did not. And not only did they not tilt out, they stayed resilient. They bounced back and took the win the next game, got shut out in game 4, and still came back in game 5 and did fantastic. So I've got nothing but compliments from Northway at this point. The real thing that I'm looking for now is what's going to happen at the end of the month, because honestly, we might not even have to wait that long for a rematch here, though, Trevor.
Yeah.
If we see these teams show up next week, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another final, which is these 2 teams.
Yeah, and that was the difference maker right there, that overtime goal, 2.5 minutes in. Northway, just for whatever reason, in extra time, are just that much better to make this series that much closer. And as you said, even bouncing back from the utter decimation that was game 2. I mean, good Lord, a 6-0 in under 2 minutes is a lot for the mental tilt. But able to bounce back from that and bounce back from a 3-0 shutout where Grupo Terracola looked like they were going to take control of that whole series from that point. At that point, Northway just came back into this one. They had a fighting chance. They played the game that worked best for them. As we said, that's what you got to do, is step 1, play your comfort. They outpaced their opponents in game number 1. That's what got them that first game victory. They re-employed that strategy going into the final game there in this series. And that's why they walk away with that first place prizing. And like you said, we might be spoiled to see them back even before the finals, because, well, they've already done it once. Now they've done it twice to walk away with some prize money for both of these teams. Who's to say they won't do it a third time?
We're going to have to find out here. I would not be surprised, but I will be surprised at whichever team takes it, because at this point, we're all evened up, and I could see either one of them coming into that third qualifier and taking it overall. But if you guys want a chance at taking that third qualifier, you can as well. We're not done here. It's still open signups. It is still an opportunity for anybody to pop on in here, and next week will be the last one. 6 p.m. Eastern Time at 10/21, October 21st. Another Thursday, same time, same place, same cash out. 125 for the final qualifier. The only difference this time is only 2 teams can make it. So you're going to want to try and battle it out here. Like we've been mentioning, the competition gets tougher every time. But if you think you've got what it takes to not only take next week's qualifier, but also get something done at the end of the month with that $500 prize pool, go to checkmategaming.com and go look at the Rocket League section, sign on up, or visit iatl.gg if you'd like to register that way. Either way, I'm encouraging you to go do so, because we've we've got so much good competition here, and we've got so much opportunity for so many teams to just dazzle us on stream. Caribou, I gotta hope we get some really incredible teams in the next coming weeks, but it's gonna be pretty hard to try and top this one. We had a heck of a show here today.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, it never disappoints. And that's why we continue to encourage teams to sign up, because any given Thursday, a team might show up, might surprise us all. Any given Thursday, a team that's as good as Grupo Terricola, as good as Northway, might just play horribly, and they might not even make it out of the first round. You never know what is going to happen, and that's why we invite one and invite all to participate in these community opens. But another congratulations to not only Northway, not only Grupo Terricola, but also to the other two teams that we did not get to see in the finals, but Night Garden G's and NXG, because we're going to see them again in a couple of weeks' time as well. And they are two teams that, like we have seen with Northway, improving and learning from their losses. I imagine Night Garden and Nexus are going to do the exact same thing.
I hope so. I'd love to see them continue to improve here, because all I can tell you is that at the end of this month, we are going to have a banger of a final show here. But we got to get there first. Like we said, one more qualifier next week, and then we will have that grand final at the very end of the month on the 28th. But for right now, we're going to have to say goodbye for today. Thank you so much, Caribou, for coming through here and helping us out. Really, really do appreciate it, my friend, for hopping into the booth with us one more time. Also want to give a shout out behind the scenes to, I believe, Taylor, who's on the call today for broadcasting. Huge shout out to them as well for helping us out and making sure to run all of this smoothly. It really does mean a lot. But unfortunately, all good things are going to have to come to an end. That is that for this week's ATL Open or IATO Open. We hope you guys have a great rest of your night. We hope that you have a great rest of your week, but we also hope that we see you next week. One more time, October 24th, 6:10. If you want to get signed up, go to iatl.gg to get registered. But for now, that's all that I've got for you. Thank you so much, everybody that came through here today. We will see you next week for the final qualifier of October. Hope you have a great one. We will talk to you next time.
Select.